Hey, and welcome to another episode of Roll for Story, still in the Clawed Coast. But within the Clawed Coast, we are now inside Terig's Tower, a peculiar, mesmerizing location, rising hundreds of feet out of the Mirage Mountains, is the strange puzzle tower that Llewellyn's compass has led you to. Upon entering, you solved a number of riddles which opened up portals to different areas within here. You've met a couple of NPCs. Orish and Mox are two wizards under the tutelage of Eric himself. And currently, Carius Llewellyn, you would be still in the where is it? Oh yes, the Octus Traditum. So you'd still be there right now whilst the others are exploring their stuff.
Yes.
Last session we did your thing, and so I think today we will start with Irina and Kashan, or back to Andy because Andy was still stuck in the. Yeah, you know what? While we're here, we'll start here actually. So, Andy, you've just witnessed your party do a number of wacky things to open up these portals. One of them being using Irina's telescope to actually see an invisible chair before a statue. And when they sat in it, they felt a lever, and when they pulled that lever, they launched themselves into a portal up ahead. They've just disappeared. Meanwhile, Carius put his weapons inside a stone chest and then jumped through a portal, as did Llewellyn. That kind of leaves you here, not alone though, because there is still a young, pleasant wizard by the name of Orish, and he sees you perhaps looking a little bit lost. He says, your friends, are they coming back, or did you want to follow them?
She kind of like looks at him, looks at where roughly that invisible chair was, and looks back at him and she goes, kind of looked fun, whatever happened there.
Yes, of course. Take a seat.
Oh, okay. And she kind of like walks forward and she's like holding her hand out like, but there's nothing there.
Oh no! Don't stub your toes. Right there.
I mean, here?
Yeah.
Here? Like feeling around for it.
Just groping the air.
He does have to guide you a little bit, but you do find the chair. And yeah, you're kind of sitting down, and it's already kind of reset.
Her feet are probably off the floor.
It's actually like a spinny chair with a bit of suspension to it, so you can when you kind of sit down, you kind of bounce up a bit.
I've never sat in a chair like this. This is very new.
There's another one like it in the observatory. It's
just like a whole rotation on it, just a wee.
Spin around in it.
It looks like you're levitating.
Yeah, doing spins in the air. Oh, okay. Right. Now what do I do? They were kind of like looking this side, I think.
Yeah, and then suddenly you feel there is a metal lever, and it's in like this upright position. You can just push it down.
She does. She's like anticipating it. This little grin on her face, like, "Oh, this looks fun."
And as you do, you're
not that you can actually see it.
Yeah. You're sprung forward and sent hurtling headfirst through the portal, and you end up in the observatory. And I think for Kashan, Irina, you're still looking through the telescope at this point, but you definitely hear a probably hear a light scream. Yeah, whee! And then finally, Andy comes hurtling from the top of the stairs, ends up skidding across the observatory floor. And
can I not try and do some acrobatics to land?
Yeah, sure. Roll me acrobatics.
There's a power slide into the room.
Yeah. 17.
Oh wow, yeah, nice. Yeah, so you kind of appear at the top of the stairs, and rather than going into a tumble down them, you end up kind of gliding down the stairs, and then finally, yeah, power slide across. And the walls are curved as well, so you can kind of like slide around them. And you come to a stop
Oh, right.
underneath this gigantic telescope, and you can see Kashan is sat in another similar chair, looking through it. And Irina seems to be twisting and adjusting all these different dials on the side of
Oh,
it.
you decided to come then?
Well, it looked fun, whatever that was.
It was totally fun.
Did you know the chair spins?
I did not, but now I
It's
do.
so much fun.
Wait, Kashan, does that one spin?
I will try to spin said chair.
It does. It spins just as well. But of course, the tube is attached to the telescope, so you have to duck out of the way of it, or just move it out of the way.
Can I use my feline agility to spin it very fast?
It breaks away from the floor and takes flight.
Yep.
It's a
Kashan
UFO.
helicopters into the night sky.
Throws up.
Unidentified flying cat.
He
Feline,
becomes
so
a new
UFF.
constellation.
Ah, I thought it was going to be UFC then. which Kashan would be very good at.
You become the cat constellation in the night sky as you spin up into the distance. No, it's definitely firmly affixed, but it is well greased, and you can spin as much as you like. In fact, it doesn't stop spinning unless Irina actually grabs a hold of it, or you jump
I'm
out.
not that brave. So we found this big ass telescope, as you can see. It looks into the past and possibly the future, but we've not tested that yet.
It does?
Well, we assume so. We just saw like Carius's dad, but not now, like old man, like younger version.
How far back do you think it may go?
I mean, this was when Carius's dad was young, so pretty bloody far back.
Do you think we could see the night my father was taken away? Or even longer before that? Even, try and find my mum through it?
I mean, if that's, I guess, what you want to look. Do you know what day that was? How long ago?
I don't have a heifer date.
Okay.
Was anything in particular happening?
I mean, it was just kind of another normal day of pickpocketing for me.
Okay.
It was, I know, I'm trying to actually think in terms of the timeline. Smolder had left for a couple of years, I think, before that. I think she was about 8, from what I remember.
If Smolder had already left,
She was a little tot when...
so that would have been 9 years.
But yeah, so her dad did die a couple of years back. Maybe she was older than that. She's 20 years old now. Maybe she was about 10 years old then when it happened. Because she wandered
Wanna
around
roll a
and
history
stuff
check?
for a while.
Maybe roll a history check, see if you can
Yeah.
remember the exact date. What should be there?
Eh.
10. Well, you're having a hard time trying to pin the exact date. You can
I mean,
guess.
let's face it, she's probably never used a calendar before.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, well, maybe
You can
Let's
roughly
think.
guess in years, but you have no idea what the date was.
I'm gonna pull out the wanted poster of Andy's mum. Is there a date on that?
No, there wasn't.
Never
Not
mind.
one. Not
It was an
officially
idea.
stamped.
I mean,
And even if you
hopefully-
did have a date, I wouldn't necessarily pinpoint.
I mean, hopefully Llewellyn can come through and be able to talk to my dad's decapitated skull when we get there.
Maybe.
That's alrighty.
Seems like a bit of a waste. I'm wondering if. How far did it reach? I can't remember. Obviously, it couldn't go past the Clawed Coast, I think we'd established.
Correct. Yeah, it got to about the shoreline, and beyond that, it was just distant horizon. Like there's a not a limitation by the telescope, you think, but rather there's a limitation on the curvature of a planet. In other words, you can't see past the horizon.
The other problem we have is that Carius's dad seemed to spot the telescope. So if I use this to look at something important and get spotted, that's going to bugger things up. I don't think it's worth the risk.
He was actually very close to it, and when you look down to it, it reflected off the sun. So you saw kind of like the lens being shone in his eyes. So he was very close. So you imagine that's the reason why he was able to see it. It's not like the telescope actually moves in space up towards something.
No. I'm just wondering if.
Well, you keep playing. I'm gonna look at these stars as constellations.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there are a number of constellations all over the room, and you can see they are actually very, very slowly shifting. Like that, there is a firmament that is turning. And you're not sure whether it's real or an illusion or something to simulate the night sky.
What
Okay,
she'll
very-
probably do
Go on.
is somewhere in the center there. She'll lay her cloak out on the floor and try to see if anything matches the cloak.
Okay. Roll a investigation check for me. Yes, there is. In fact, it doesn't look like your ones are moving. Of course, they're not moving, but they do definitely recognize a few of the different constellations. But
Okay.
you've been confused before as to whether the constellations on the cloak represent the material planes ones or the astral seas. Sometimes they've been intermingled with one another, but here you can definitely see they appear to be ones not of this plane. They are of the astral sea itself.
Okay. Do we know there's a library here, or do we not?
Yeah, we do.
You do know, yeah.
Okay. Right. I might have an intention to look in the library later then. Not that I'd be able to really read the book easily, but anyway.
And I will also say, Irina, when you were looking through the telescope itself, there was a number of different dials and switches. One of the buttons did have a star on it.
Do I press the button?
Yeah.
That's the question.
You've yet to see what that does.
I kind of like hover my hand over it. Like fingers kind of twitching, kind of look at Andy who's on the floor looking at her cape. Check Sean who's probably still spinning in his chair. I'm just gonna push the button.
Okay. So
You're gonna make yourself sick if you keep doing that.
But it's fun.
nothing immediately happens. It definitely felt like it locked in, and it's not pushing back out. So like when you pushed it, you see the other button kind of pop out.
Okay. I look through the eyepiece.
Okay.
Is there anything?
Looking through the eyepiece, then instead of seeing the blue sky with clouds, the distant horizon of the Clawed Coast, it is now replaced with a velvet purple-like sky with these multitude of twinkling stars. It is a view of either the night sky or something else. And as you try to like maneuver the telescope around, you quickly realize that there is no land mass, there is no ground. In fact, you're having a hard time figuring out what's up and down just because of you're being surrounded by stars. And as you kind of pull away from the eyepiece a moment, you do realize that the stars that you're looking around on the walls match the ones within the vision of the telescope, potentially allowing you to zoom in and out of this point within the astral sea.
Okay. I'm going to pick a constellation at random. Zoom in.
Okay. Let's see. What do you look at? No. Yeah, roll me a D100 for me.
$70.
20. Okay. All right. You see, there is a unicorn constellation. Its mane is a glittering field of stars. And something unfortunate about it, it looks as though the horn where the stars should meet is broken. It looks like they've only got like a section of their horn intact. And I'd like you to roll a perception check as you continue to try and zoom in potentially on this. Someone else will have to like help you zoom in on the telescope though.
14.
14. Yeah, you can see there is another string of stars kind of attached to it. But it's hard to make out because they seem faint, they seem thin.
Okay.
And the longer you look at the constellation, by the way, the more it does appear to be like an actual visual representation of a unicorn, not just the point to which it, like, not just the outline, it's not just a dot to dot, but it kind of almost fades in and fills in with color.
It's one of those magic eye puzzles that used to get in magazines,
Oh no.
where you'd have to go really close and then slowly move it out. Okay. Well, that's interesting. But I'm gonna turn that off before I go completely mad. Because I don't think stars are meant to do that. Gonna away from
Not
them.
normally, no. But then it depends how much you know about the astral sea, I guess.
How much do I know about the astral sea? I
Roll
don't
an-
imagine it's
Roll an Arcana check.
16.
Okay. You know
But
that
my
it is.
specialty is more magical items, not
Hmm.
these.
So you know that it isn't just a plane of stars. It is supposed to be the space between space, the road that goes nowhere. And though it kind of represents as flowing sea of stars, the actual effects of this place are they shift and change depending on what the traveler imagines there to be, because it is a realm of thought and dreams as well. Therefore, things can come into existence just by purely thinking about it. And it seems like, although there is a constellation right here, as you kind of looked at it and maybe imagined it as the actual animal or mystical creature, it perhaps did fill in the kind of gaps within your imagination and gave it life, gave it kind of color.
But I also know that the Astral Sea can send people a bit bonkers, so I'm gonna step away from that.
There are dangers within the Astral Sea, absolutely, yes.
I'm already strange. I don't need to be mad too.
Yeah. Not a lot of them are
So
well
I'm-
recorded, purely because encountering one
Little
usually
mad.
sends the traveler mad, or perhaps they're just lost forever.
Yeah. Either way, I'm gonna step away from the telescope.
Okay.
Just look at Andy and Kashan. Just be like, "Are we done here? I think maybe we should find Karis and Lavellen before they get themselves killed."
If they're not already.
It's very likely.
Yeah. I mean, we left Lavellen to go and rescue Carius, so. And I
Why
mean,
would you
Carius in
do
the
that?
library.
That's suicide. For both of them.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, now that I think about it, that wasn't such a good idea.
Maybe we should go and find them.
How do we get down?
The stairs?
There is a set of stairs,
No.
Is there a banister?
but at the top, no, there's not actually. But the top of the stairs, there is a portal, and
Oh,
that's
okay.
still intact. But
Okay.
do you notice there's another set of stairs that leads down as well?
Are there wheels on the bottom of the chair?
No,
Damn it.
no, it's stuck on a pole that swivels.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to head back? Easy enough
Yeah.
to do. I'll just drag all of you guys.
I might come back there later.
Yeah, there's a couple of uses for this. I'm sure your friends can help with. But in the meantime, you head back down and step through the portal once again. There we go.
And it was the one that's over here with the one. That's the one for the library, I think.
Yep.
Things in the box. But this is the thing. Does Candlewick technically count as a weapon if he is my arcane focus?
You asking me or the statue
Yeah,
that
I'm
has
asking.
laser
Who else
beams?
would I be asking?
You could ask the quill.
Okay.
Because that like scanned Carius to detect what items he had.
That it did. That it did.
So, it's weapons, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, I reach behind my back, and out comes the sickle, stick that down, dig into my sort of trousers, and pull out sort of 2 sheath daggers. They go down. Dig into the side of my coat and somehow pull out a short bow.
You have a short bow on you?
Don't ask me where I've been keeping it.
Yeah, I was gonna say what? What?
In
Right
her
up
coat
there.
somewhere. And yeah, I'll just stick all of them into the box.
Okay. The box then shuts, and the quill then writes you a little slip with all the weapons inside of it, and then there's a little space for you to sign your own name.
Okay, there's no sort of like clause or terms and conditions or
Doesn't
very, very tiny print. I'm a librarian, I know how this works.
roll a perception check or an investigation check, either one.
Go with investigation. An 18.
You look really close, but there doesn't look to be.
Alright, I signed my name.
Okay. All right. After that, the portal opens, and the blue one, I believe.
Oh,
you jump straight through it.
Yep.
All right.
I literally leg it and do like a long jump.
We didn't.
And then immediately closes straight afterwards as well.
What would What would have happened if someone else went through it, even though you signed your name?
Want me back out somewhere else? I don't know.
That's interesting. But we won't find.
Okay, and what about the others?
We're following, aren't we?
The portal closed immediately as Irina went through it.
So you'd have to put your weapons in the box as well.
Yep. So she gets out her 2 daggers, her arrows, her bow, and her short sword. She has a miner's pick as well, so she just randomly goes, "Well, it's kind of a weapon." Gets that out and puts that in there too. Somehow she's managed to keep these all on her tiny little person. Don't know how, but
They're hiding in her hair.
yeah, there you go. And
She's literally that one character who every gets patted down and then still pulling out stuff.
the funny thing is she never uses the short sword, but she still keeps it. But yeah, she gets all that out and pops it down.
Okay. And once again, you're given a little slip. You sign it, and the portal opens.
With a very, very jagged version of her name because she's still learning how to write.
Yeah, sure.
It's all shaky and she's like holding the pen in her fist and
Squishing all the feathers.
yeah.
And then finally, Kashan. Do you follow suit?
I will, yes.
How
Okay.
do I put my hands in a box?
The box suddenly elongates as well for you to fit your quarterstaff in.
Perfect.
Again, not gonna lie, I thought it was gonna be an I fit by sits moment.
Does,
When you said the box gets bigger.
does Kashan have to get in the box because he is a weapon?
Yes. He is a cat as well, so it may only make sense.
Is anybody gonna sit on this? Okay, no, I'll do it.
Yeah, the quill does stop for a moment. Seems to be tapping the piece of paper, and then just writes "cat," and then and then hands you back the piece of paper, and then you can sign it, and the portal opens, and it shuts again once you step on through, and you make your way in.
Perfect.
Oh no, there's 2 Levellans on the screen for me.
Could not be.
That's one too many.
That's
Levellans.
one of them's more.
Personally,
Enough.
it's too many.
Never enough.
One is more than enough.
Until there's 11 Levellans, not enough.
So, after we'd done our thing, did we come back to the library?
I guess you could have, yeah.
Because Terrig sort of went off after what happened, and then we would have went back to Mark's, and I'm guessing you would have taken us back here so that we could rejoin the others eventually.
Yes and no, because I haven't finished my conversation with Terry, so I'm still just behind him.
Well, Terry disappeared after. So whatever
I,
question that is, you missed your chance.
I did follow him, and then we cut off the session.
Yep.
What I said.
I'm afraid you'll have to wait and find him another time, because Terry is gone.
Cheated by the DM.
Yep. All the more, at least it gives you a chance to go back and ask him more.
Yeah.
I mean, it means you have a reason to go find him again. Sure. So yeah, in this case, then, Irina, Andy, and Kashan, you come up into this circular library. There are books all over the shelves, and you can hear the sound of footsteps coming down another set of stairs. In the center, there is actually a statue of a wizard with a book open, and yeah, a lot of books on planes. We can see there's a lot of books on conjuration, possibly more schools of magic as well, but you'd have to really kind of thumb the spines to have a look to see what you're looking for. Anyway, regardless, the rest of the party have rejoined as well at this point, I'll say.
He's just gonna go up to Irina and go, can you write down Astral Sea and constellations for me so I know what I'm looking for?
Sure. I do so.
She just like walks around with this bit of paper and trying to match it to spines and covers and things.
I can help you find a book.
I want to try and do this on my own first.
All right. Don't get defensive. It's fine.
I didn't mean that to be defensive.
You know, I'm surprised it took you guys so long to find the library. I've had a bath, I've had a fight with this guy, I've spoken to Terek, and you've only just got here?
Well, to be fair, the minute I entered this library, do you really think I'm going to be leaving within the next 3 days?
Yeah, they did go a different direction, Carius. That was the only one.
Yeah. I know, but, you know, I thought as soon as Irina even detected a whiff of library, she'd just appear here.
Yeah.
It's my natural habitat. I'm surprised you didn't try the catapult chair.
Well, I'd already dived... Wait, that was a catapult chair?
Oh, yes.
Well, on a positive
An
note...
invisible catapult chair.
A spinning invisible catapult chair.
Yeah, you struck oil like 2 sentences ago. You can...
Yeah.
You're overselling now. But on a positive note, with a bit of help from Terek, I can now turn natural lightning back at itself.
You figured it out. Hey.
I've at least got most of the thing. We also may have almost broken time.
Yeah, we almost broke the tower.
Why am I not surprised that it was you two?
Well, to be fair, it wasn't like anything like we did something stupid. I literally mentioned a place, which I won't say again, but it's a place you're aware of, and like we're all curious about what happened there.
Yeah,
And that caused the hourglass, which is like sustaining this place, to start to crack.
yeah, this Terrig is a Terrig of the past. Or, well, specifically me or us. And if he finds out stuff from the future, his tower starts to do weird things.
Yeah.
Where is Terry?
Yeah, he wandered off really quick after I gave him the compass.
Yeah, I think he went to do something with the compass and also possibly tried to fix the hourglass via whatever magic he does.
Yeah, like he wandered off really quick. It was like he was hasted. I wanted to ask him something and he was gone.
This is Mark's, by the way.
Yeah.
Hi, Max.
He's an interesting character. Maybe you'll find out the way I did. But for now, I need to look something up. I'm gonna start scouring the library for teleportation circles of the kingdoms. Or any book on them.
Oh yeah, and apparently this place is full of puzzles. Mox is trying to like solve them all, so you find any puzzles, if you can do them, he'll respect you a bit more.
Including this room, apparently.
Yep. So you should be in your natural element.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Back up a few minutes. Where did Terry go?
Terek is busy right now. He's obviously been pulled away from his work, and now you've given him more work. So that's only going to slow him down even more.
He disappeared via magic, I think. So he could be anywhere. Could be here.
Wonderful.
He could be a book in disguise.
If you wish to contact him, I have a direct line of communication.
All right.
If you would like to leave a message, please press.
You can tell him Malone's apprentice is here and needs to speak to him urgently.
Oh yeah, we mentioned you and Malone, and
Malone
he was
doesn't have an apprentice.
Oh.
Not yet.
That's an interesting point. You don't see Llewellyn in his cloak anymore.
Yeah.
You see him in his old cloak.
How does
Yeah.
Irina react to that?
Llewellyn!
Uh-uh. Oh.
It took you a while to notice. Hi.
To be fair, that's not my fault. That is your fault for not mentioning
I
this earlier.
completely forgot about that.
Yeah,
But we're gonna roll with
Terry
it.
took it.
Yeah, Terry.
Possibly just for repairs and analysis.
Or possibly to create a second one. But also for repairs. But also because, well, morally, I deserve the cloak. Because obviously the cloak works. But he might also want me to earn it by completing some of his challenges.
But it's not yours!
But
it's not.
technically, Terry gave it to
And-
Malone, so Terry has the right to take it back.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then
but
pass
are you
on.
both forgetting that this thing could potentially be the anchor and you've just given it away?
Yeah, Tarek's trying to learn about that as well.
Yeah, like we mentioned that, and he's looking into that so he can understand it. And
I mean, it was her teacher, right? So if anyone's going to understand, it would be him.
particularly as he's the time guy.
Okay, is there any other information that you've given Tarek already that we should probably know about?
Well, apparently he was expecting my dad here, and I beat my dad here, which is confusing.
Oh, we saw him through the telescope.
Wait, what?
He's just arrived from the looks of it.
Oh,
Like
I'm
Like-
not gonna ask.
you saw Caris's dad through the telescope.
So
It doesn't
the
be that far.
catapulting chair kind of throws you into the observatory. You look through it and you can adjust, rather than looking at places, you can look through like time. And it was already set to a certain point, and it was watching your dad come in through like the places we just came to get to the tower. And he was like looking at a map and was, oh, I found it. And you know, that's when I was kind of like, oh crap.
Wait. So what if he arrives here and meets future Carius?
Maybe let's not let that happen.
Yeah, that might not be
I
a.
don't know what kind of a paradox that's going to cause.
Well, apparently the tower protects from paradoxes somehow.
And yet the hourglass broke.
Yes, but that was because it was
You
stuff.
carry on looking for your book.
That's because it was the future that Terry didn't know, I think. Or possibly the thing we mentioned is that important or somehow related that it affected it. I don't know.
Time is fun. Yeah, and I'm just gonna go back to looking for this book. I think that's everything that we needed to say.
I'm just thinking.
But yeah.
Mm,
And then I've got a spell to learn soon, but first this.
Oh yeah, and did you know that Llewellyn can like reflect magic?
I mean, some people can do that anyway.
No, but rather than just like stopping magic, he literally took the spell and threw it back. I've never seen anyone do that.
I was going to say I have, but I haven't. Tan has.
Yeah, so. And it's, again, due to his book, because his book's weird, but, you know.
And now Mox can. Well,
Yep.
he will in time when he figures it out.
But, yeah, so, we're in a library, not exactly my favorite place in the world, but what are we looking for?
Well,
Yeah, let's start with what Andy wants to look for.
Yeah. Cool.
So as you all kind of like start to split off and looking at different books, Andy, I'd like you to give me a investigation check.
A little piece of paper. Investigation?
Did anyone say they were trying to help you, or are you trying to do this on your own?
She's trying to do it on her own first.
I did give her the bit of paper, so technically that's kind of aid.
You can go to the right section, we'll say. We'll say you're definitely in the right area. Oh my lord.
Hey, look at that!
26. All right, what do you want to know?
It was a
about
very good note.
What would you like to learn about the Astral Sea? Oh boy.
Because she was basically looking for any books on constellations or the astral sea mainly. I guess she just kind of. The thing being is that she won't actually be able to read this book unless someone helps her read it. But she basically wants to learn more about the astral sea, seeing as it would appear somehow her mum can reach her through it. So she almost wants to study up on it to try and get a better understanding of how she can reach back.
So she's looking for the Astral Sea 101.
Yes.
Yep.
Astral Sea for Dummies.
You do find exactly that book. It's got little stars all over the cover, which you pick out and you can turn it around and you see it also seems to have a list of known locations as well, and it's got at least a glossary you can read. It's got inhabitants, got deities, locations, settlements. Yep, settlements. People can live in the astral sea, which is again another little bit of mind-blowing tidbit. And then there is just the general aspects of it, and then there's the actual spell, how to just like travel in and out of the astral sea. And I guess you turn to that page, and then at this point, someone would need to help you kind of read the section. So who do you go to help you read it?
I guess you'll just kind of hold it up and go, does anyone want to help me with this?
Gonna be right back once.
Charis just shrugs. Sure. Well,
Thank you.
either of
I
us will
just
help.
need someone who can read.
I mean, it depends on the language.
Is
If you're
it-
looking,
In common?
I would assume it's in common.
Yep.
So, Carius or Llewellyn, you make the choice.
I mean, it's books. It's more of
Who's
your
more
sort of.
booky out of the two of you?
I mean, Llewellyn has a living book. I feel like he's bookier.
Okay, book boy, come over here.
I'm actually made of a book. I don't say that out loud though. But yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'll help. Yeah.
All right. So,
There's a wall. I can't walk through walls.
There's a wall. You just walk into the wall.
so then, as you open it up, it says there are a number of ways to access the astral sea. One of them is through a powerful spell that wizards have used to harness. It is incredibly powerful. We're talking 9th level. It is known as Astral Projection. And in order to activate this spell, for each creature you wish to affect, you must also provide 1 jacinth worth at least 1,000 gold pieces, and 1 ornately carved bar of silver worth at least 100 gold pieces,
Wait,
of
is
which the spell consumes.
this this a basic description of this, or is this actually the spell in this book?
No, this is a description of the spell,
Oh, okay.
not the actual spell.
Are
Well,
you
that-
reading this out loud as you're speaking to?
I'll be reading it out loud to Andy.
Yeah.
I'll be
Okay.
like, that's a
Then,
pretty cool spell.
then to probably Kashan at least. Wouldn't those ingredients sound familiar?
Yep.
I'll
Sorry,
be
They
say
would.
it again for me.
Jacinth
Literally, I
and
can't
silver.
remember.
Sorry, one more time.
Jacinths and silver for astral projection.
Oh, I don't have any of that.
Yeah. But the ingredients would at least sound familiar because I
So-
remember you seeing them.
First of all, no one knows that Kashan is holding on to those. Kashan, you definitely hear Llewellyn speak about them.
That suspicious look.
Where did he get those? Where did he get those from? I can't
Don't
remember.
tell him. Don't tell him.
But-
Don't tell him.
Oh wait, no, it was in the temple in the
Well, they
Yeah.
I can
definitely.
confirm it.
Yeah, we don't know that. We don't know that technically
So-
because hoarding
When
gems.
traveling in the plane, you leave your material body; it stays there, unconscious, and you go into a. It goes into a state of animated suspension, so it doesn't need to eat, doesn't need food or air, doesn't even age, and your astral body resembles your mortal form, and it replicates everything that you kind of wear and look like. And the only key thing is that you leave behind a silvery cord that extends from you and trails behind you attached to your body. This cord is your tether to the material body, and as long as that tether remains intact, you can find your way home. But if the cord is cut, and only something specific can cut those, then your soul and body are separated, killing you instantly.
Well, that's a little bit dramatic.
That's a bit dark.
It
Yeah.
is.
But
But other than that,
like, have you ever described to us about your mother in the Astral Sea or not?
you've seen
Can't
parts.
can't remember.
You haven't
I-
described.
But I don't know if
No.
you told us or not.
I think she's mentioned, of course, she's felt hands before, but of course at that point she didn't really know it was her mum.
Well, you know, if this book is accurate, maybe your mum, the cloak potentially was the tether, and by removing it, she could maybe have been untethered in the Astral Sea.
I wonder.
Yeah. Just be careful when it comes to this, because it could, that cord could be cut by Chris.
The cord can be cut by a number of things. A Githyanki silver sword could do it. Which is
know
a type of race within the Astral Sea. They're like elven creatures with green skin.
Space pirate.
They are
Space
space pirates. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Githzerai are a little bit more peace loving, but they are still wary of outsiders. Other creatures, potentially dangerous ones, can cut it, but for the most part, it remains kind of impossible to even detect to some degree. For example, when the actual body is there, you don't see a silvery cord that exists in the Astral Sea itself.
I've kind of got a little idea, but I don't know if maybe the book might say anything about it. Can you send objects into the Astral Sea?
You kind of flick through the pages a little bit ahead, past this spell, and you discover other ways to transport yourself. And yes, there is a way to enter into the Astral Sea via portals, magical items, and when you do so, you actually take your physical body with you. You don't split like this spell allows you to. You are in the Astral Sea, sort of floating around, and as you can imagine, time is very strange there. You can age rapidly or not at all.
It was more to send an object, because basically what her idea is, you know how like you would get messages in bottles on the sea? See if she could send a message in a bottle
Space message.
on the Astral Sea, on the Space Sea, to see if it might reach her mum.
It's fine, just pollute space, it's fine.
Yeah. A lesser known spell, Plane Shift, 7th level, allows transportation into a different plane of existence. Normally, it's a creature, but it does say that you can use it on another creature. So if that creature had something on them, they would be taken with their items.
So you could send
That's one way you could do it.
you could send a message that's a person. Like,
Or-
like, and then Llewellyn does like the across the throat thing, like send a message. Wink, wink, which is literally just him winking his one eye.
Yeah,
It seems a bit of a waste of a good person, unless they're already dead.
Doesn't
I
have to be
mean,
a person.
Just have to be a
also,
good person.
also, doesn't a person no longer count as a creature once they're dead? Isn't that a thing with magic?
Yeah, it is.
But you send
So
them first.
effectively, what you do is you banish a creature.
Yeah.
It could be anything. You could use a familiar. You could use a worm, for example. As long as it is a creature, you could attach an item to it and have it be transported.
Yeah.
Just tie a worm onto a bottle and send it out into the
Yeah.
Astral Sea.
That could work.
Yeah, I would.
So
work.
what?
I mean, where are you going to find a worm in the desert?
I mean,
Sandworms? Sandworms, is that a thing?
Yeah, that's a bit
I
big
mean,
there.
technically,
It is.
Llewellyn could turn something into a worm, then you could send it.
That's
If
true.
you wanted to send a worm.
Or we could just send one of our familiars.
That
You
too.
can send a familiar. Yeah.
Um,
That would work.
does it say what you need to do the plane shift one? Obviously,
Yes.
you need.
So this is the thing. You need a forked metal rod worth at least 250 gold pieces, attuned to the particular plane of existence.
Does it
Right.
say?
If you have that, you can transport it to the astral sea.
Does it say how you tune something to a certain plane?
Wizards.
So I can do it. Sure, why not?
Just
Because wizards. Because I'm a wizard. So why not?
I mean, in theory, because of how your cloak works, that's sort of tied to the astral sea. So if we got the tuning fork, you might be able to use that to
That's true.
tune it. You know, like hit the cloak and that will resonate or something. That's how tuning forks work, right?
You have a tuning fork, don't you?
I do have a tuning fork.
Oh,
And she
try it.
brings it out.
But I mean, is it worth 250 gold? These spells are really oddly specific on how much
We
things are worth.
can melt 250 gold pieces worth of coin and coat the tuning fork in that.
That
therefore
would
making
that
it worth
that
so
would
much.
actually
You-
work.
You joke, but it is actually a process of which how most of these items are done.
I'm
Usually,
not joking. I'm deadly serious.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Shall we?
yeah.
Usually,
Karis is just like,
Do we want
Hmm.
to try this right now?
usually you can melt down the gold into a pot, and then you use a thing to inscribe the rod with runes with the gold. So they're basically gold runes. That's usually how.
if we're gonna start talking about melting stuff and selling things on fire, probably not a good idea to do it in the place with the books. Don't want things to go bad again.
Yeah, we wouldn't want someone to burn a library.
It was an accident, and it technically wasn't my fault. Well, okay, it was my fault, but not very fault.
I know. I mean, you almost burnt down a library.
You weren't there. You can't judge me.
I was about to like sort of put myself, you almost burnt down a library due to something you did. I got struck by lightning for something I did. Llewellyn lost a hand and an eye for something he did.
Well, to be fair, I think those were his choices.
True, but it's still something he did. That was stupid.
But we could do it.
So
Like, there's no rush, but we could do
I
it.
just want to also say that, Andy, you have a cloak, like you said, that could be used like a rod to make this spell work, but the cloak in of itself is listed under here. So you've got the plane shift spell, which is a way to get into the astral sea, and then after that, it lists a number of magical items that allow you to do that. And one of them,
So I could basically just hold the worm with the bottle, go into the astral sea and drop it in.
That's
Good luck, friend.
Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, you wouldn't even need the worm. You could just go
Yeah.
yourself and just chuck it.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, excellent.
That's
Cool.
what I'm getting
I
to.
need ink and paper and a bottle.
So we're not setting things on fire?
No.
Oh.
it's
All right.
it sounds like a way to
I
send a
should have
message.
known that from the beginning.
I mean, Irina, if you want to
Yeah.
set things on fire, you could always go have a fight with Mox. Though, be careful, he's a coward and likes to hide in bubbles.
Nah, I'm good. I'd rather look through the books.
Karis just says that, but he's saying it in a joking way.
That's a little bit,
He was saying it in a joking way.
that was a good strategy. That was quite defensive, but
Yeah, I know, but and then you turned in. Yeah.
he's a little bit sour, Carius.
Like, I was gonna win that fight, and then you stopped my spell. Yeah.
Because I didn't want to be chain lightninged.
Well, you were gonna survive it.
You find paper and ink very easily enough here, and whilst you're thinking about the message that you would like to send, we can come back to you, and then.
It's going to take a time to write this thing anyway.
So who would like to?
I mean, I'm sure if she dictated what she wanted written, someone would write it for her.
For sure,
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
Once you kind of think up the idea of what you would like to send as a message, we'll jump to who wants to look through the library as well. Irina, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are you searching for?
I'm gonna sort of circle the library first, kind of looking at like sort of the different categories and how they organize their library. as I go around, I'm kind of going to eye any desks, any current work that's on the desks to see what has been, like, what people are studying, if they've left notes out.
Okay. Funnily enough, there is one, and it looks like Mox has gone over and sat back down to it. And as you kind of peer over his shoulder, you see that he's got a number of books. All of them seem to be from different schools of magic. There's no underlying thread that matches them. They just seem to be a random assortment, and all of them seem to have a bookmark in them. One singular bookmark. And he's currently got one open on the desk, and he's not like necessarily reading it, but he's clearly like read a passage, and the bookmark sits in the middle of the book, and he kind of starts looking around, and he's still thinking to himself. That's what you see.
But I can't read what's on the book.
Yeah, you could look at it. Okay. So, well, the whole book is open, so I guess roll an investigation check to see which passage he seems to have been, which seems to be like stuck. He seems to be stuck on
16.
16. Okay. So the book is it seems to be a book on geography, and that it describes a number of different settlements of the material plane, probably talking about Kester, in fact, and the nearby forest, God's Fair Forest. And you kind of continue to read, and you're like, there's nothing particularly interesting at first. And then you come to... Oh, hold on. Yeah, and then you come to a passage which kind of is a bit odd and sticks out from the rest. And it's describing the river that kind of surrounds the God's Fair Forest, goes past Kester, and actually on the other side of that river would be the capital city as well. And it says, speaking of rivers, a man calls his dog from the opposite side of the river. The dog crosses the river without getting wet and without using the bridge or any boat. How? And it's just a passage wrote there within the book. And you can see Mox is mulling it over and thinking. And you can see he looks back down, looks at the passage and looks back up again. And then kind of notices you behind him and sort of turns around and says, Can I help you?
You just seem to be having trouble.
Yes. He sort of like puts his arm over the book for a moment and says, but I've already solved a number of them, as you can see. I'm getting close.
Well, if I had a dog on the other side of the river, I'd cross the river, pick up the dog, and carry it over. Just a thought.
He looks
Dog
down at
doesn't
the
enter
passage.
the water, doesn't use the bridge, doesn't use the
It
boat.
says the man calls his dog, not that he
Yes.
goes and fetches it.
Yeah, but it doesn't say he doesn't do that either. It just says the dog crosses the river without getting wet, without using the bridge or the boat.
So how does the dog do it?
The guy goes across, picks up the dog, and brings him over. It says nowhere that the man doesn't pick him up and carry him. The dog isn't physically doing the act.
Okay, let's say that's the truth. Let's say that's the answer. A man
It's
goes
a truth. I never said it was the answer. I said it's a truth.
Sure. Either way, that doesn't lead me on to anything else.
I mean, it depends on what you're trying to get to.
These riddles are all connected. He gestures to the books. He says, one riddle leads to another, which leads to another. At the end of this, I believe there is some secret arcane law that is being held here within the library. One of the books activates it. I know it. But these riddles, they cascade onto one another. So let's say, for example, your answer is the man goes and gets the book. What book would that be? You see how that doesn't really give me any clues?
I mean, I've got a potential answer.
Oh.
Shoot.
What if the river's frozen?
That's what I thought.
Frozen River. He starts like scrolling through his notes and stuff, and everyone can roll an Arcana check as that's announced.
I mean, you're really not supposed to give the guy the answer.
I told you I'd make it on my own steam.
Well, to be honest, I'm also meant.
Darius is not coughing today. Darius.
I mean, it's water-based.
Yeah, it was literally. It's like it's a river. It's weather related.
Well done, Darius. With a natural 20, before I give you the answer, because you've already got one of them, what notable frozen river is there in D&D lore? Can you tell me?
Oh God, frozen rivers in D&D lore.
A river of death.
Yeah, Jeff's got it.
Well, when he said the opposite side of the river, life and death is also another one that I was thinking, but
There you go. It is indeed. It
the
is.
dog.
Mox goes, of course, the river Styx. And if this river Styx is frozen, it must be where it's treading through the plane of the Vistas. And he starts going over to the plains of the Nine Hells, and he starts thumbing through it, and he pulls out the plane of Levistus. I think it's. Hold on.
Wait, it's Carius looked through his stuff and pulls out his contract from Glory. Like, is that where I meant to go at some point?
Sorry. Did you? Stygia.
He has a face!
He goes, Stygia, of course. The river meanders through Stygia, a frozen tundra. It's a vast frozen sea dominated by ice floes and icebergs. It contains the divine realms of Set and Sekala. And he begins
It's named after the river too.
And he begins reading the book of Stygia. And that's going to take him a long time to find the next passage. And you can see he closes the book with the bookmark, puts it on top of the pile where you see the other stacks of randomly assorted books. And he's on to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, Karis just sort of looks at Irina and just like, does this mean he was stuck on that one?
Yeah, for sure.
How?
Like, it's pretty obvious that he's new.
I would have got it eventually.
Uh-huh. Sure, you tell yourself that. Whatever helps you sleep at night.
It's a hard life.
I mean, you've been here. I mean, how long did that one take you before I got here? I know time's a bit of a weird question, but...
Well, it takes a long time. The riddles themselves aren't the hard part. It's finding them within these passages. But it does at least inform me of many locales and arcane lore. In order to find the passage, I have to read the whole book.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna carry on sort of looking around for anything that seems to have been like written maybe by Malone or something like that. Because I imagine obviously she studied here, so there's probably resources here that she's used.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Malone was under. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, Malone was under Terrig's tutelage within the Grand Library. She was appointed Archmage before Terrig left. If in a way you can imagine it like this, Terrig was then exiled, and effectively Malone took his place as the Magus. So Malone has never actually been out here, and Mock seems to sort of echo that sentiment in the way that he said he doesn't have an apprentice named Malone. He said that earlier.
Yeah. Just as a quick one out of character, though, will affect what I do in character. Was Stygia the place that Glory wanted Carius to go after he died?
Yes, it was.
Right, then Carius is going to go read that book whilst Irena's doing whatever Irena's doing.
I'm reading this. Mock said.
Hey, well, I solved the riddle, so, I think I get dibs.
Yeah. Fine, just don't be a slow reader. He seems to be like holding the page. Just tell me when you catch up.
Carius will start reading, and if there's one thing Carius isn't, it's slow.
Yeah. All right. So you kind of pull up a chair next to him, and you're both reading from the same book. It's kind of adorable.
We're bonding.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so Irina, knowing that if Malone isn't an apprentice anymore, she would have not come here to the tower. Likely not.
In which case, I'm looking for anything that's on time travel and anchors. Not ship anchors, but like anchoring oneself in time.
Yeah. Huh. Speaking of anchors. What did you roll early on your perception check? 14, wasn't it? Yeah. As you kind of start looking for these anchors, and give me another investigation check. That thing you saw attached to the unicorn, you couldn't quite make it out, and you couldn't quite identify it. But now as you're looking through and trying to figure out where an anchor would be, it kind of looked like that to you. It was kind of a thin line, like it was a rope, and then something attached to the actual horn itself. And you could imagine it as being an anchor, though you couldn't quite physically see with the overlapping stars. Regardless, 25. Okay, pretty damn good. So, time travel is not something you find necessarily a book on, like time travel, the guide for dummies. Instead, you find a lot of transmutation books that reference time like magic, chronomancy.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm after.
And from the basics, you already know haste, slow are ways to speed up and potentially slow down time. But time travel itself is seemingly a subject that eludes you continuously throughout the study here. As you taking a few moments to locate anything to do with anchors, it's generally considered that time travel is one of the trickiest and most cosmologically breaking things that any wizard could do. And any who have attempted it have never been located ever again. Effectively, they may have caused a paradox and then either made themselves cease to exist or turned into a timeline that doesn't have them in the first place. Like, they've pulled themselves out of the timeline by teleporting away from it. Especially if you try to go back into the past, you just end up going into a loop. Either you cease to exist or you're stuck there. And there is no solutions. There are only theorized ideas as to what to do in that situation. And you gather the fact that if Terig wanted to find out what this set of wizard's robes are, the robes of the Archmagi, if he's trying to identify them as an anchor, because he was the one who was told it was an anchor, not making much sense. Basically, Terig was a bit astounded when he was told that this was an anchor, and he didn't look like he kind of knew what you were talking about. So, if Terig doesn't know, and there's no real mention of an anchor, you can basically deduce that Malone was the sole wizard who maybe figured this out, and yet has yet to record it. She didn't find it in someone else's book. She invented this idea herself,
Oh,
and she's the first person to try it.
yeah, that's a thing. If Terig doesn't figure it out through these robes, he's gonna come figure it out to see if it's the egg.
Right. But the theory is obvious to you with a 25. Considering that these wizards have been lost to time and they've never found a way back, she's obviously created this anchor as a means to pull herself back in the event that she either falls into a loop or creates a paradox or just pulls herself from this timeline entirely. She's got a way to pull herself back and basically don the cloak once again, kind of stepping into her own body. It's like she's left like a husk here, one that would be very closely what's the word, attached to her. It's like sentimental, but it's obviously a very powerful and a legendary magical item as well. So it possesses enough
Very
power to
well
potentially
put.
pull them back in almost like a reverse time travel like state. If so, those wizard robes would need to be kept and contained in a very safe and secure place, which is exactly what she did. She didn't just like leave them out. She locked them away inside a chest, inside a dungeon, guarded by
Until Lavelle stole them.
monsters. Yeah.
I didn't steal. I found them.
All you can tell, Irina, is that this is one of the theories or potentials that might work. But no one's been brave enough to try it because other wizards who have gone time traveling have never made their way back. So if she believes this works, then it is literally a last ditch effort. It is like a big gamble for her. You can imagine. But yeah,
Really know what else to
but there's no
try.
science to it. And as you thumb through the book, there's no like, this is how to create an anchor. It's clearly something that Malone has tried on her own with her own theory and her own
Okay.
knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
But generally, it's dissuaded. Like you do not want to go time traveling.
Well, yeah, obviously. The idea is to try and get her back and figure out what she's doing. Because whatever she went to do, it obviously didn't work because the capital is still kaput.
Yeah. That it is. But you've yet to know exactly what's going on with the capsule itself as well.
All right, I'm gonna close that book, like feeling like that's kind of like a dead end for now. I'm gonna do what I used to do as a child in the library. I'm gonna do a lap. Someone's gonna yell stop. I'm gonna stop in front of a shelf and grab the nearest book.
Stop.
Okay.
Also, I could probably use your help in a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. It's a game we used to play at the library. They used to make us run in random directions. The head librarian would yell stop. We'd all stop and pick up a book and expand our knowledge.
Okay. You stop at an empty bookshelf. It is labeled Evocation. There's a couple here, like the basics. It's almost like organized by spell level, like cantrips, first level, second level, and it seems from second level onwards, it's the books are missing.
Oh, that reminds me, actually, Irina. There is one other thing that might be of interest to you. There's a room upstairs which is full of scrolls, including something called Evolving Cantrips. It's got like all the spells, so I don't know if that interests you. Including some ancient ones which haven't been understood yet, from my understanding. Right, Mox?
Yeah, I'm gonna sideline to the stairs.
And Mark says, "Now hold up. They're not just for any wandering passerbyers. Those are for higher level apprentices. And you haven't even accepted an apprenticeship here, and you're already wandering around the library as if it's your own."
I'm a librarian.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with her in the library. She'll probably beat you with the books. Actually, no, probably not the books, because that would damage the book. She'll beat you with something that make you wish she'd hit you with the books.
I'm also a librarian, technically.
That is
Yep,
true,
that's very
because Sean is... he can also speak all languages. It's kind of cool.
Well, he can understand all languages.
Yeah, semantics, but
And
yeah.
be understood in
Yeah.
all languages.
Aren't I the son of a librarian? And I could feed you to the books.
No, you're not the son of a librarian. You're the son of the king's mage, but that's not the point.
You're the mistake
And
of a
I'm very
librarian.
literate.
You mistake that back.
He says, "Fine, but if you get lost, it's your own fault."
Uh-huh.
But wait, Irina, before you go,
Yeah?
considering that it was tasked of us by his name, your friend,
The
could you
Sultan?
give me
Oh, no, the Vizier.
could you give me a hand looking for this book? I'm hoping it will be here. If I can't find Terrig to ask him, I might as well search his library for it.
Book?
To find teleportations circles of the kingdoms. Maybe it's not. We can find it noted down. The runes that we need.
Good idea.
So Mox can overhear this and says, "These books are on knowledge. You won't find runes or just spells in general.
But we don't need spells. We just need
You'll find descriptions of them, but you
We just
won't find
knowledge
runic circles.
of the runic circles.
Well, then you're not going to find them in the library. This is
Well,
like
Where would we find?
history, law.
Okay.
Well, Terry keeps them inscribed himself it would probably be in the dimensional horologium.
How would we get there?
Max, you make a terrible librarian. I'm heading up the stairs.
My name is Mox, and I'm not a librarian.
Good. You'd be terrible at it.
Yeah, the guess if there isn't any information on
fact,
that,
actually-
I'll follow Irina. And we gotta find this horologium at some point soon. But yeah, I'll follow Irina then. Because the thing I wanted to find isn't here.
Now I'm a librarian.
Oh,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he can turn into anyone.
yeah, he's
Oh, spoil it for her. You see
Well-
a literal copy of yourself walk around arena.
All right, you have fun with that.
Yeah.
Bye.
I found the fun way that if you knock him out, you find out his true form.
It's fine. I'm one of many Irina librarians. You think me seeing a duplicate of myself is anything new? It's a petty parlor trick that babies use.
It's
This
certainly
isn't-
there's
this
certainly
isn't a
nothing
Have
strange
Max.
about it.
Bye.
Yeah, I'll just be saying to Irina, like as we're going up, yeah, it's not a copy. It's like a version of you from a few seconds ago. It's really
He
weird.
thinks it's time travel, and he's wrong. You think it's a parlor trick, and you're wrong.
But overall,
It's
he's
neither of those.
he's a specific race that is able to do.
Oh, I'm no race.
Race?
Terry made him better.
You're not
And
a
that
race?
was me that said that, not Irina, but yeah.
Anyway, I guess we've gone up the stairs by this point. Just like, he's not a race? What?
It's not a race, no.
What was that? Was that a monster?
You
Maybe I
think
should.
to yourself.
Maybe I should
I
put him
don't know.
in the
He
book.
seems like half of the kids that I went to school with. Just want to punch him.
Yeah, he's pretty obnoxious and he doesn't like being beat. He's a bit of a sore loser. He's very competitive.
Yeah, it seems like it. Anyway, let's go have a look at these scrolls.
Sure.
Oh,
Split the
you
path.
come round to the conjuration room, the villain arena, and you quickly go past that, going down the set of stairs again into here.
I guess I would be
Okay.
able to show her because we did walk past this.
Yeah, you did. Let's get rid of that.
Unless some weird tower things happen.
Ooh, now this is more like it.
Yeah.
It's the stacks. Field day.
Okay, you come down into a very dusty chamber. There are shelves filled to the brim with scrolls. Looks to be a couple of reading desks. There's a chair, very comfortable looking chair, kind of like cushioned with a carpet. There are stacks of books in the corner. But for the most part, it seems fairly quiet in here, fairly abandoned.
Yeah. So this is where all the scrolls are, as you can see, and the advanced cantrips are over there. Nothing that was of much interest to me, but maybe to you. Right.
Going to have a wander around very quietly.
I do point to here for the cantrips specifically, the
Okay.
advanced
Okay.
ones.
You can both roll a perception check as well as you come down the set of stairs.
Sure.
25. So Irina hasn't spotted them because they're facing forward, and as they come down the stairs, you direct their sight to the actual cantrip shelf. But Llewellyn, as you kind of gesture around and look, you feel your mind's eye speak to you and says, we're not alone in here.
So yes, so over there you've got your first level spells and then your second level spells. And as you can see, this is a perfectly circular. I'm just acting like a tour guide right now. Pretending like this is meant to happen because I've spotted someone in here.
Sure. So you're trying to pull it off. Roll a performance check, Llewellyn.
I was gonna say if Llewellyn's acting shifty.
Performance, I'm totally good at that.
Oh dear, 7.
The hell's the matter with you?
I'm just like, I guess I'm looking over specifically in a direction with like my singular eye, and sort of like
You're just doing that over there.
yeah, but without
Yeah.
actually doing it.
You
It's
hear a voice come from somewhere in between all these different shelves. It sounds kind of gruff, gravelly, and you hear it say, "This is a wizard's tower, not the theater. You can drop the act." And as you kind
Hello?
of try to locate the voice, Irina, you come around the corner, there is a small, squat goblin in half wizard's robes, half leathers, and he seems to have a tattoo on the side of his head that looks like it's tattooed in blood. Whether it's just red ink or not, you can't quite tell. He's completely bald, and he's got like a number of daggers sheathed in his spolder, and he seems to be looking through a ton of books. There's a stack of them, and all of them are the missing evocation books you saw from earlier, Irina. Evocation from 3rd level onwards.
Right, sorry, didn't mean to disturb you.
I came down here to find somewhere more quiet and to avoid
Yeah,
mocks.
Max is pretty annoying, isn't he?
Max.
Yeah,
Uh,
Mox. He's not quite as powerful as I thought he would be, but I guess he's getting there. Bit of a backhanded compliment to
He thinks he's a player in this game.
really does.
Doesn't like thinking outside the box, does he?
He doesn't realize Terrig is the one that owns it.
Hmm.
He's more like a rat in a maze.
Oof.
I just came
Are
here to learn
you-
something very specific.
I was gonna say, are you one of Terrig's apprentices too?
He seems to think on this for a moment. Sure.
Bit of a long pause there.
Inside.
Yeah, go ahead, roll an insight check.
Is he meant to be here? Or is he like sort of like us and he's oh, come on. First you roll me a 5 and now you roll me a 2, but it's a 10 altogether.
Yeah, you're uncertain. This guy seems kind of closed off. Not to mention, he's hardly even looking at you. He's kind of still looking at the books, and he's sort of just talking like over his shoulder occasionally to you. So you can't really quite see his face yet, but he
So
does turn every now and again.
what are you trying to learn there?
Power.
That's a good start, but a specific spell in mind?
The most powerful one. Ones that can kill my targets the quickest and most efficiently.
Evocation. What sort of spells would that be? Are we looking at like a disintegrate? Is that
Well, yeah, and evocation is mostly elemental.
or is that wait, I believe that's transmutation, isn't it?
It's like summoning, right?
He
No?
turns and says, "You're in the Tower of Terrig, and you don't even know what evocation entails. Are you sure you're not lost?"
No. I know this. I'm just like chain lightning. That's definitely evocation.
Ugh.
Although there's nothing better than being able to use other spells while pounding someone down with stars. That's a pretty decent.
I don't want to be your lecturer, but evocation is the study of powerful elemental effects.
I'm pretty sure I already said that.
You said conjuration.
No, I said elemental before that. Like conjuring elements and using them for other purposes. Anyway, enjoy your studies. I have things to look at myself.
Just keep it down.
Likewise.
I'm just sort of like
Oh, I can be very silent if I want.
I
silent.
don't doubt it.
I'm just sort of silently slinking over to see what spell he's looking at.
Sure, have a little. You want to have a gander?
Yeah, I do want to have a gander. Or what I might do is maybe I'll send my book like up the wall. Have a
Give,
gander.
give me a. Actually, you know, we'll go with an investigation check.
Investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 15. 15 is not bad.
What'd you get?
15. That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad, but you don't quite see what he's fully looking at. You only see one half of the book, and it seems to be on the School of Evocation itself, not necessarily a particular spell. So he's looking up what evocation wizards have reached, like the cap, kind of peak evocation wizards. So from there, you can perhaps see how to sculpt spells and how to empower your evocation.
So you're looking at like 9th level spells and that specifically.
No,
No?
not ninth. No, you don't see any ninth level spells listed. You see he's looking at specifically evocation, how it's brought, how it's studied, how it's sculpted, how it's empowered. There isn't a spell on the page.
Oh.
He's looking at specifics on evocation itself, the actual study of the magic.
Oh, so he's
Yeah.
like back to
The
basics.
Yes, but you reckon that one page is the basics, and that the other page that you can't quite see is the more advanced stuff. Anyway,
Really want to see what that is. Oh well.
okay, you go back over to the cantrips, and Irina, if you want to
Yeah.
have a little look, are you looking for any particular cantrip?
Well, I don't know what's on here, so I'm having just a random nose first of all.
Okay.
Wait.
All right then.
Which
Let's see.
ones did I find that I can point towards for Irina?
Gust. You
Dust
found
and
Gust.
Magic Stone.
Oh yeah, Magic Stone, that was one of them.
If I've just found the right thing for what these evolving cantrips do, I'm actually interested in some of them. Though some of them, I'm surprised they've decided to evolve them. Like guidance is on here.
Ooh.
All right. Anyway, I'll explain. So these cantrips are clearly a way to empower older, more less used cantrips. Do you imagine that a level 20 archmage that can only light up a single candle at a time using prestidigitation, or a cleric who's basically become the champion of God, who can merely only like change their eye color with thaumaturgy for a short while, doesn't quite add up to the fantasy element. So here it seems like certain wizards, certain clerics have learnt to empower them and study and focus on just empowering them. And the first one you can see, Irina, is Blade Ward, for example. And then there's Control Flames, is the second one you find. Dancing Light, Druidcraft, Friends, Guidance, Gust, Light. I can keep going. There's a lot.
I'm just looking at the ones that I've already got.
Which are
Create Bonfire, Sword Burst, Eldritch Blast, obviously, and Mage Hand.
okay. Of those, you find Mage Hand is the only one listed here.
Okay.
And if you take a few minutes to quickly read through it, the scrolls entail how to empower your mage hand, what you will accomplish should you follow these instructions. The mage hand allows you to ignore the verbal component when casting the cantrip, and you can make the mage hand fully visible. Later on, you can then increase the distance of the cantrip up to 60 feet, and you can change its visual style as long as it still has the structure of a hand. And then finally, once you become a very powerful caster, you can have it carry up to 20 pounds of weight and can made to appear 2 times bigger than normal. So, yeah. The distance and weight increases
Okay.
as you
that's
master it.
Pretty cool. What do I got to do? Does it say instruction-wise on that?
Instruction-wise, there is a long path, a long study, and series of exercises that you must accomplish. And you reckon this is going to take a while? This is going to be something you'd have to take under your wing and spend some downtime doing. This isn't something you can just click and master.
Yeah, obviously.
So it depends if you want to begin that road.
Kinda do, but we don't have time.
I mean, we could do it after we visit the observing Coronoculum, or whatever it was called.
The observatory. Just the observatory.
Not the observatory.
The dimensional horologium.
Yeah, that.
Oh, the dimensional horologium. Okay. I'm gonna go there.
Yeah. But first, I want to have a quick gander at the thing I was forced away from, which is these ancient readings.
Okay, well, I mean, if you were forced away from them, should you really be looking?
No, I mean, we were forced away from this whole room. Because
Now you tell me this.
because we were going somewhere, he was taking us to Terrig.
Okay.
But
well, you do that. I'm gonna have a nose round.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have a quick gander at those ones.
Roll me an intelligence check.
See if we can figure them out.
Yeah, just straight intelligence.
Cute. 14.
14, you have no idea. Half of these sigils, half of these incantations are completely alien to you.
Damn.
You have no idea how to cast 19th level spells. Oh, sorry, 9th level spells. And as such, you have no idea what these scrolls entail.
Irina, you can read everything, right?
I can read every language, yes.
Doesn't mean she can understand the complexities of this.
Yeah, maybe you'll be able to understand this where I can't. It's a lot of random things I've
You can roll me a straight intelligence check if you want, Irina.
a lot of random, yeah, stuff I've never really heard of. Because this is really baffling me. I don't like it.
Irina, some of these scrolls entail 9th level magic and beyond, which you didn't even think possible.
Oh wow, there are the higher level ones. Oh god.
However, one thing you notice is some of these scrolls don't seem to be made of the same parchment, and as you're going to open up one of them, you realize that it is simply a documented history of one of them being cast. This isn't actually a scroll of 10th level magic or 11th level, or rather a description of what it is, who cast it, at what time period as well. For example, one of the 10th level magics was cast in Telatui to shape the actual city itself, melding the trees into a fully fledged city was a 10th level magic spell, and it was cast by not just a single wizard, but rather a collection of 12 elven sages. And together, them using druidic magic managed to shape an entire city from a forest. That's just one example of 10th level magic. And
how are these sorted? Like, are they sorted by like?
They're sorted by level, and then alphabetically.
And any idea?
Well, some of them are just too advanced for either of us. And they're mostly documents about certain spells being used at certain points in time by certain people. It's not really a how-to guide, it's more of a encyclopedia of who did, like a census almost, of who's used what spells and when.
So, when you say more advanced, you mean like what, 8th, 9th? We like talking Well, I
Um,
believe I have the means of learning learning an
Ooh.
8th level spell, but I don't actually have the ability to cast it yet.
how do I put this? Let's see. You
Yeah, I got that.
these spells.
I no, I that was
I
a
want to say
very
something. On a natural 20, you can thumb through a couple more. One is how to summon a dragon. One is how to baleful polymorph an entire army. One is how to send a creature or object into orbit. And then finally, there's one that says you are able to pause time for days, potentially weeks, or even years. And I
Does it
will
say
say
who
with a
uses
natural 20,
that?
you can also tell this one isn't dusty like the others.
Okay. If I open it up, does it say who's used it recently?
There isn't one who says he's used it recently, but once upon a time, yes, there was. And as such, they angered Mystra, the goddess of magic, and she was another, what's the word? Another nail in the coffin of what happened to 10th level magic. Because, as you understand it, 10th level magic and beyond doesn't even exist in your world. So casting one of these spells is practically impossible because it breaks the divine decree of no 10th level or higher because mortals just misused it. And yeah, as such, this wizard was probably trying to misuse it, and as such, Mystra came and undone the spell. Trying to manipulate time is not just only dangerous for the caster, but also seems dangerous for the gods themselves, and even they intervened.
Does it say who cast it?
Um, let's see.
so we're talking 9th level spells, right?
Nope. 10th level.
No.
I'm saying this to Irina because she still doesn't explain to me that these are higher than 9th, so I'm just like, so I'll get there, right?
Llewellyn, there's higher than 9th.
Is
But it's borderline interfering with the gods, and you probably shouldn't be messing with that.
but I can learn it, right? At the very least.
Probably no, it's really not a good idea.
Wait, does that mean Mox knows this? Because he said he knows every single spell there is, apart from the misspelled spells. We learnt that.
It's very unlikely.
It was apparently a wizard by the name of Feed Merg.
Feed mug.
Feed Merg, is that?
What
That
the
sounds
hell
like
is
an.
that?
That sounds like an anagram. Like it doesn't even
Regardless,
sound like a name.
regardless, it's that wizard does no does no longer live or exist. You can imagine it's long gone. And yeah, the last person to cast it angered Mystra, and the divine intervention was stopped the actual pause in time. Um, now, the fact that this is undusted leads you to believe that someone has obviously recently checked the spell out, and you are in a wizard tower of time. So, you can only imagine.
What if you did your thing on this where you sort of like get a rush of information?
Legend lore.
Maybe it'd show who's the most recent to try and learn this.
I mean, the name is there. Feed Murg is the last person to use it, and the gods literally intervened.
Yeah,
It's probably not someone wanting to use it, but probably referencing the scroll for other means. I mean, if Tarek took the robes thinking they may potentially be an anchor, he's probably thinking that maybe Malone has attempted this in order to stop what's happening in the capital from getting worse. She may have been trying to delay it.
That's true.
That's my theory anyway, just judging from the situation at hand, which isn't good.
Yeah.
But the power to pause time exists.
I mean, if that was her plan, was to pause time, then travel to fix whatever happened, she could have potentially done both in a way to try and fix things, but
Interesting, because I know obviously this is like on a large scale. Do I know of the spell that allows you to pause time for 24 seconds? Which is specific.
Roll a Arcana check.
17?
I
No,
don't think
wow.
you.
I-
You didn't even think pausing time was possible,
Yeah.
but now you know it does
That-
exist.
Some things, I guess, just shouldn't be messed with. Well, I know for a fact that some things shouldn't be messed with. I was inside the hut. There are many things that shouldn't be messed with when it comes to magic.
Time itself is just something that I don't think should be messed with. It's bad enough, places like the Feywild and things like that, and the dilation. That's kooky enough. Without people deliberately messing with it.
Yeah, I know that it's a touchy subject with it being your tutor, but does it not make you feel a bit worried? This whole traveling through time,
I am very worried.
protecting your stuff with evil monsters.
Again, I am very worried.
Yeah.
I am concerned on a number of levels, but I'm dealing with what's at my feet first.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You could potentially be doing the wrong things for the right reasons, but the idea is getting her back.
Yes.
Or at least trying to figure out what she's done. Because I don't know what happened after I entered the capital. I don't know where she went or what she did. I don't know who she spoke to. She could have been around until the prior year. She could have been gone like 5 years. I don't know. I was gone for 9 years. She could have jumped through time at any point in that space.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll come across her in the future.
Maybe.
Quite specifically.
Or heck, in the past. Oh my god!
I mean, we are in the past right now, technically.
I need to go back to the telescope.
What?
You've heard a ding.
For? What?
Oh, good, you're leaving. I was just about to tell you to keep it down. Do you see you were
Her
looking for
residence, her residence was in the dry oasis.
Oh.
We could literally look back. We could potentially go and see when she spoke with the Sultan. There's a potential we could hear that conversation and find out what she was trying to find out.
That's quite smart.
I don't know about smart, but it's worth a shot.
Do we want to do that first, or do we want to try and find these teleportation runes first?
Oh right, yeah, that first.
Yeah, if we get those and get out of the way, then we can.
But I did also have a thought last week, a sudden sort of realization, and I felt really stupid for not asking.
Wait.
But Irina Salt escaped the capital using the teleportation circle in the library. She'd know the runes.
Oh.
Except that you had your memory fizzled out from when you did that.
So I
You
guess
remember almost blanking out. And your entire memory of that is still sketch. Plus, I want to also say that you never had time to study the teleportation circle. You
No. I'm not on about me. I'm on about Irina Salt. She escaped the library using the teleportation circle.
Oh,
She said
Salt.
so herself.
Sorry, yes.
She
Salt.
studied it. She knew it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I didn't ask her about it. And I only realized last week, and I was like, God damn it, I'm so dumb.
Oh no. I'm sort of like just looking at him over there. I'm like, is that a shrinking chair?
No.
But you look smaller.
Oh, you got a wise guy here. Think you're funny.
Well,
huh?
then, don't insult the goblin.
No, I mean you were over there and you were big, but then you sat in the chair and
Yeah.
you became tiny.
That's because it's an odd, like, human-sized chair level, and don't be rude.
I
It's called
No.
perspective. And maybe I should open up. Maybe I can open up your eyes for you. And he draws out.
I'm literally gonna put my hand over Llewellyn's mouth and start dragging him away. It's fine. He just can't control his mouth. Ignore him.
like, is it inscribed with like enlarge reduce, but specifically the reduce? I'm like trying to.
I've literally got my hand over his
I'm like
mouth.
trying to look.
Reduce your lifespan in a minute, unless you want to leave.
I've been there, done that. And then I guess we wander off. I'm like still sort of like trying to get a glance at any runes on the chair. I swear he got smaller.
Did he get smaller?
He's a goblin, damn it.
Or is...
Yeah, but over here he was like full size, like a full square, and then you moved him onto
Because he
the
was standing up, and then he's sitting down.
chair.
It's
I-
Chris's.
A part of me wanted to sit in the chair to see if it would make me small as well. Anyway, are we going to the horologium, or are we going to the observatory?
Yeah,
Up to you.
let's go see how the others are doing first.
Yeah.
Okay, you head back the way you came. That's easy enough. So we'll go back there.
That was really funny.
Pretty insulting.
It wasn't insulting. It literally looked like it reduced his size. So I was
Yeah,
like,
but you see how that came across to a goblin.
I
He's gonna kill you now.
I thought it was like a magical chair. And I like magic items.
Anyway, you come back down to the others.
Sure.
You see Irina in front of you, and Irina behind you.
Can you choose
Also,
a
you're back.
form?
Can I do what?
Can you change your form, please? That's
Oh, I'm trying it out. After all,
Why is this Irina Irish?
Because it's the best impersonation he can do.
oh wait, are you Scottish?
Yeah.
You know what? Get rid of this. Yeah, he just turns back into monks and says, "Are you done nosing around?"
Yeah, but I don't think the goblin is.
he wasn't
Goblin?
happy.
He's looking at some troubling things. Just saying.
Oh, him. Best not to get on his bad side.
Everyone's eyes immediately turn to Lavelle.
Yeah, a bit late for that.
There is a chair in there that makes you small.
No, he's literally just a goblin in a human-sized chair.
No,
Are you being racist?
no,
He is.
He is.
Very.
that really wasn't like. Look, he was like.
Jit will lend your life for that kind of statement. You know that, right?
Well, he had some very nasty things to say about you. I guess you guys aren't on friendly basis.
He isn't here to study or learn. Well, he is, but he's not doing it for a good cause.
What do you mean?
You didn't gather what he is?
He's a
Why
goblin.
he's here?
He's an assassin. I think that's pretty obvious, Lavellen.
I mean, I carry around I did carry around a couple of daggers. Doesn't mean I'm an assassin.
He literally said about sneaking up on targets and killing them before they even knew what hit them.
Wait,
The guy has daggers in his clothing.
Yeah.
What more do you want?
wait, he has daggers in here? Like, how do you get in here?
Probably
Guys,
different route.
You shouldn't be in there. Because that's my point exactly.
Oh,
Master of infiltration as well.
do you
I'm
want
gonna
to
go.
go give him a telling off?
Do you want me to
Don't
wait
worry.
for you to get back, or try to find the
No,
next riddle?
keep reading.
How are you getting on, Andy? I've got paper and ink.
Oh
if you
yes.
want
So
to.
have you got a message you would like to send to the Astral Sea?
I have a idea of a message. I'm just trying to think how to word it to the mother that I have never met.
Okay, well, you tell me what you want to portray, and I will write the message.
I don't know. When you write a letter like this, do you start, "Hi, how you doing?" or what? I don't. 20 years of catching up to do.
Here we go. First of all, what the heck?
What the?
Maybe not using that kind of language, but something along those lines. All right. First of all, you want to put her name so she knows it's for her.
Yep.
We don't have an address, so that doesn't go on there.
Yes.
Just say,
How do you start a letter to your strange mother who?
I
kind
hope
of
this
disappeared?
letter finds you well. If it does not, let me know somehow.
To whom it may
So we
concern.
If you are not who this letter is addressed to, please put it back in the sea.
Mind your own
Okay.
business.
or just pass it on to the person who it's actually meant for.
I know. Okay, so considering like the astral sea, I imagine like we are a speck in the astral sea somewhere. I imagine there's like an opening to the material there somewhere, right?
So, reading the book, you found out that there are portals to other realms in the Astral Sea. They're represented as spinning, almost like spinning coins of different colors, but they're actually
Okay.
circular portals, much like the ones you saw downstairs.
And do we know which one is the material or not? Is there like a
Um,
diagram?
We'll say it's green. Not all of them have been
Oh.
documented, as there are countless worlds, but I will say that the material plane one has been identified as green.
I am going to, instead of like writing a long passage, because we don't know the state of this woman, or considering you can't read, whether she can read. So I'm literally going to draw it out and do like draw this portal and label it as like green, you know. You are here, find us here, and then I'm going to do a quick sketch of Andy. So it's like, you know, daughter all grown up, hey, you can find me here.
Okay.
Would like answers, please, and thank you. Oh, by the way, there's only about 3 months, so please come quickly.
Okay.
Or a month. I can't remember how long it was.
I
Oh,
think it was a month.
A month, yeah.
Did-
You have 1 month.
is this written down or did you say that out loud?
No, I'm putting it on paper.
Did Andy say that out loud?
Well, you already know I've only got 1 month before
Yeah.
the vizier's gonna come hunting.
Yes. Speaking of that, I'm actually in the means of learning the spell that we need to hopefully extend that period. Mox owed me one. Or Max, as you like to call him.
Okay.
So we're on the right track. Maybe it'll be more than a month, or as long as you want. I could completely make him forget.
Well, her mother doesn't need to know that. The sooner she gets in touch, the better,
Yes,
really.
true.
So,
But just thought I'd update you on.
That's very handy.
Yeah. Speaking of, I should probably get to that.
okay. So, fold it up, put it in an envelope.
I will actually go on.
I'm gonna reach over, pick a bit of your hair out. Ow.
the dog.
And then I'm gonna sort of put it within the wax for the wax seal to close it. So there's like a strand of Andy's hair in the wax.
What did you do that for?
I don't know. So DNA, maybe she'll know it's you.
What's DNA?
It's the stuff that makes you you.
I
It's like the mix of your parents in like a.
I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
Yeah, because
Like maybe not DNA, but like the like genetics.
yeah, like
You know.
Llewellyn is one of the very few characters that knows about alternating currents. Would Irina know about DNA? This is
No.
Not necessarily DNA, but in
Gene.
terms of obviously heritage.
You would know about genes.
Like,
genes.
yeah.
You wear them.
I
It's
was
great.
I'm muting myself.
Okay. Well, just a
yeah.
quick recap then. What was the words in the letter? If this letter is
She'll
Please.
probably also put in there, by the way, for the record, Dad is dead now.
oh no.
Just as a PS. It's not PS I love you, it's PS Dad's dead.
Yeah. So yeah, please come quickly.
Oh my god.
It's essentially Kadira, and then it's you're lost somewhere in the astral sea. Find this place. I've done a little diagram.
Okay.
Urgent, come quickly. You have 1 month, and then I've put like the drawing of Andy in there as well.
Is she though? I thought we had information about her wandering into the Shattered City.
Yeah, but somehow she's contacting Andy through the astral sea, so it's potential that she's tethered or
Made away.
had the tether cut.
Maybe she made her way out from the Astral Sea, from the Shattered City into the Astral Sea. It's
Who knows? But I mean, she's tried to reach out,
yeah.
I suppose. So
Good.
maybe.
Okay. So
It's worth
Andy,
a shot.
you have the letter in a bottle, message in a bottle, and you're going to use the cloak to transport yourself.
Pop in.
All
Pop
right.
the bottle. Pop
So
out.
you bring the cloak around. The cloak kind of outlines your form, your shoulders and head, and then kind of melds around you, almost pulling you tighter and tighter until you like pop out of the material plane, and then unveil yourself back into the astral sea. And everyone else sees the kind of cloak kind of compress, a little sparkles of starlight twinkle for a
I
moment
think
before
there's an actual audio pop.
they blink out. Yeah. And oh, Andy, I guess you'd find yourself floating in the astral sea. Damn, did I close it?
Is there a
Yeah,
tab for
yeah.
this? There's a tab for this, isn't there?
There is.
Oh.
In fact, actually,
Oh. I apparently lack permission to update the scene.
I lack permission, so Kirsty can't see the screen.
yeah, it's all right. We'll get to it in a second.
You have to give me permission, otherwise she's not going to see
More important thing to find out.
it.
Oh.
Image.
Llewellyn is crack-a-lacking permission. He says, putting on his crack-a-lacking mask. No, I'm kidding.
You don't have a mask,
I do.
do you?
I have a Kraken-lacking mask. I got it from Weep. It's a mask that looks like a Kraken.
Oh, okay.
It's called. I've named it the Kraken-lacking mask.
Yes, you do.
Alright.
All right. 1 second. Whilst it's uploading.
I'm just entertaining any viewers until this happens with useless knowledge. Andy has a mask too.
Yeah, she's got the Afriti one.
Yeah. Did Irina get one? Was that?
No, this was before Irina was
Oh,
there.
it was.
I stole mine.
Whoop, and then Datan was just like, I'm just going to pick.
1 second.
Shan's got an ugly mask. Wait, that's his face.
Rude.
All right, got it. Done.
Waiting for that ball staff to pit around my head. Wait, oh,
It's in the box.
what a shame. I'm not saying this out loud before you do a punch.
It's as you said, I am the weapon.
It is a void.
Is this the Astral Sea? It's darker than I thought.
The Astral Sea, more like the Astral Sea nothing.
Okay, I like that one. Chris is the only one who looks very unimpressed. He's just like from a...
I'm trying to select the damn image, and it's like, oh, can't
I felt
scroll
like-
down.
I actually
felt like
really
I heard-
wish there was an actual like astral no-see.
Just close
Just-
your eyes.
It's
Yeah.
a thing.
It's literally just
Campaign of D&D in the dark, basically.
That's actually a really cool idea.
That could be really creepy.
Glow in the dark dice.
Yeah.
I've got glow in the dark dice. Andy's dice are glow in the
Yeah.
dark.
So got you, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. So that sort of reminds me. There's a board game which you play where you're blindfolded for it, for like certain
No,
parts
thank
of the
you.
game.
Mm-mm.
It's called Nyctophobia.
No.
Oh,
You're the dark.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the best way to nick something.
Yeah, essentially, I think one of you's like meant to be like a killer or something, and like the rest of you are trying to find them without being able to see them.
Interesting. I have a purple screen with a black square in this.
Took way too long
Discuss.
to sort out. All right, Andy. So you pull yourself through space into this sea of stars, and as you look around you, you're kind of seeing a swirl of like it looks kind of wavy and silky looking, and as it kind of brushes past you, you can feel like hair across your face, and then you're kind of like trying to like pull yourself away and out of that space. You feel yourself floating backwards, and you start to see an image come into a clearer view. I'm gonna drag Andy onto. You haven't got much light at the moment, but if you as you imagine light, as you imagine trying to see further than what you're normally capable of, that actually just happens. You just start to see light sort of emanate from you like a glowing, twinkling sensation. You sort of see these waves of hair before you, just swooshing past you. And as you pull
It's not
further,
my hair. She's like checking her own hair. It's like, okay, it's not my hair.
no, it's not.
We literally just have a blank purple screen.
Should see Andy on there though.
Yeah, we
Yeah, we
see
see
Andy.
Andy.
And can
Just
you
checking
see
it's
what
the
Andy
same.
can see?
Purple.
Purple. A lot of purple.
You should be able to see now that I've given them light.
Yeah,
Well,
they can see, but around them is just purple.
Oh right, okay, hold on. Yeah, I know why. There you go.
Ah,
There we go.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
pretty.
Yeah, it does look like hair.
See
Curly hair.
twinkling starlight in amongst this hair.
The astral sea is someone's hair?
Yeah, the sea is
Ooh.
hair. It's a hair of sea. But
Why is my hair Flynn Rider? Is hair? Struggling is pointless!
The only thing I want to do is get out of it.
Literally!
you can either move around for a bit, or you can simply release your message in the
Well,
bottle if you wish.
I know once I, of course, take hood off, I'll just go back to where I was before. So yeah, let's have a float, a little swim
Sure.
in hair.
Sure. Have a little float around. Be my guest.
Bobbing along,
You can move your token
bobbing
around.
along.
Beautiful
You should be able to.
The moment that Andy disappears, Llewellyn like quickly comes over like, should we have warned her that the thing from the bag of devouring came from that place?
Well,
That's true.
hmm.
Oh,
You
she's
suddenly
already got.
see a gigantic eye suddenly blink and open and turn towards you.
I'm sure she's fine.
Yeah, I hope so.
But I'm okay, not that way. She's just like going around the other way then.
Am I
Okay.
meant to be seeing nothing, by the way?
Oh, you're not even seeing. Yeah, the twitches.
The permission.
I guess it's because I've got permission to add this character. That's why I
I
can
think
see it.
everyone should have.
There's a massive mouth.
Yeah, everyone should see. There is a huge mouth. Seems to be open.
Is that
There's
the
like a set of teeth.
is that the unicorn? It looks like a unicorn.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I think it is. You're in one of the constellations.
And there's an anchor. Nice pony.
Uh-oh.
Not
Oh,
just
no.
a unicorn.
Ooh.
The unicorn with a broken horn.
It's got an actual anchor.
Sea pirates, space pirates have like anchored onto the. I'm not here, sorry.
Ah,
Yeah, I kind of gathered that.
Does that make
There-
it just a eunuch?
No.
does
No.
I can't ask questions. I'm not there, so
The eye seems to follow you wherever you kind of begin to move around. And as you get closer to the horn, it seems to sort of try and jostle. And as it does, there's like this rippling effect as all the stars seem to like glitter in tow with its movements.
She backs away from it. And what she's going to do, she's going to try the hand that's not holding the bottle right now. It's going to reach down and just, stroke its cheek. It's like, it's okay. I'm not here to hurt you. If she can actually physically touch it. Because she could feel the hair, I'm assuming she can.
Yeah,
So
as your hand sort of goes through, then as you imagine you feeling there being actual skin there, you do actually begin to feel a solid surface. It's strange. It's like a moment of second ago, it was just an illusion, something you could see physically through, and then a second later, it's real. It's as real as any horse in the sky could be, and it does seem to be like looking at you, and its breathing sort of normalizes,
Ooh.
but it definitely looks like to be in some sort of distress, as an anchor has been tethered to their broken horn.
okay. Right.
And
But she hasn't got any of her weapons on her.
no,
Damn. Okay. Right. She's just basically gonna look at it and say, look, I will come back and I'll try and help you, okay? But I can't really help you right now. I'll try and think of something. I'll try and come back. And she'll kind of like move away so she can throw the bottle out.
Ooh. What the?
the unicorn
Like the
actually
open.
nods and seems to understand you. There is more
Good.
space beyond if you wish to keep going. That's totally up to you. I'll let you decide if you want to go north, east, south, or west at any point.
You have lovely hair, by the way.
It lets loose this kind of neigh, and it echoes into the distance. Like it sounds like it's going into a vast amount of space.
Is that the tip of a finger?
Mm-hmm. Yep, you see a finger floating through space.
Okay, that's a little weird. Wee. Wee.
Do you want to go to another section? I can take you there. Just tell me if you go top, left, right, or bottom.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Woo.
There you go.
And start heading up that way. Not too close. She's gonna keep completely quiet.
Okay.
And just kind of like try and follow the rope to try and see what's attached at the top.
All right. Okay, you begin to follow the anchor, seeing what it's attached to. Let me drag you down again. Okay. Just gonna drag you to the bottom now. That's where you'd be. Ooh.
I know I'm not there, but out of character, I am excited.
Ooh. You begin to follow it up, and you start to see a vast hilt of a weapon, a sword. It's got runes inscribed down the side of the blade. It looks chipped, it looks ancient, and it's just, if it's broken, it's severed right at the kind of shaft of the sword. If it's not broken, then it must be plunged into the darkness of the stars. It's hard to tell. You see more of these floating fingers almost leading you, and you see each one begin to beckon you. Like an actual finger is like pulling you closer. There seems to be multiple ones of these. They kind of dance around, and you start to see that they lead all the way to a severed unicorn horn that's sort of just floating there in space.
Okay. At least I know where the horn is in terms of relation to the unicorn. Okay. Right. And there is a massive floating sword in space and
Yep.
lots of severed fingers.
A gigantic sword.
Delightful.
The rope seems to be all the way around the hilt and tethered towards
Okay.
it.
Right. She'll float back down.
Okay.
She says to the unicorn, okay, I'm gonna have to go now. I'll try and come back as soon as I can. Just be patient.
Okay.
Okay.
The
She gives it one more pat before she pops back in.
all right. Okay. And you let loose the message in the bottle as well, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I just threw it out into space.
Okay. It floats for a moment, spinning and spinning, and then almost as if perhaps through your will or something else's, the bottle stops spinning, begins to turn, and then it kind of shoots off into the distance, like it's become like a miniature spaceship, and then just starts hovering and shooting through the space.
It's quite promising.
Yeah. It's like
Right.
you will it to go to its destination, and through that, the astral sea, it like translates that will into existence. And if you envelop yourself once again, feel yourself pulled, tumbling, feel yourself being caught by your cloak itself, and back into the Librum Arcana.
You're gonna find your mum
See-
one day, and she's gonna get smashed in the head with a bottle.
She pops back in, and as soon as she's there, she's like, guys, there's a giant unicorn in space and it's kind of hurt and we need to help it.
Eric's
Wait,
just
wait,
like, wait, what?
But hmm?
The unicorn that I saw.
Possibly its horn is broken and it's got an anchor attached to the horn.
Okay, then yes, it's the same one.
It looked very, very scared. I managed to, kind of befriend it. It seemed to understand me.
Was
But yeah, I think we need to help it.
Okay.
it Space
I
Pirate?
don't know how we're going to. I was gonna try and I thought maybe I'll just cut the rope or something, but I didn't have my weapons.
No weapons.
Because
Okay, so
I'll have what they're having.
I am not on drugs.
That's
I mean, the astral sea does
Thanks.
make people crazy, so
I'm not crazy.
Carius,
I'm a genius.
Carius walks over, still reading his book, and is like, well, how are we going to help this unicorn then?
Yeah, I mean, if
well, first things first, we have to get to the astral sea. So I bring out my sort of handful of gold and start jingling it. Are we melting this down?
Do
I know the perfect room, and
Yeah.
so does Carius.
yeah, that's true. Let's go there.
Before you burn down the library.
But do
I'm
any
not gonna burn
do,
down a bloody
but
library.
do any of us actually know the spell to use the thing?
To use the what? Sorry?
So if you're gonna melt the thing down to make the item, then you need someone who can cast the spell.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I mean, we're in a tower full of wizards, right?
yeah,
One of them should be able to do it.
there will be a scroll on it somewhere, but we could at least prepare ourselves by getting the items we need first.
Yeah, I guess.
And then
How big a giant unicorn we talking? Are we talking just like the size of like our ship?
I was bigger than I was.
Oh, that.
Is-
I mean, I think giant doesn't even describe that. That's like God, beyond giant. I don't even know the word for that.
wait, how tall is Andy?
She's what? About 5 foot.
Fuckle.
So
Yeah.
so bigger than you are, like Carius's size, or
No, 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 no. I mean, this is like the size of an island.
space
Yeah.
space pirate?
A massive space horse.
You said there was an anchor attached.
Yes.
Would that be like a space pirate with a spaceship? A space, like literal one. Like we have a ship, but in space. Dropping an anchor
It would
on the.
quite possibly.
I mean, you've got the Gith who kind of float around space. Well, the astral sea.
Oh, and there was lots and lots of severed fingers and then massive, 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 massive sword.
I'm starting to think she's on drugs.
Not on
Well,
drugs!
That did remind me, by the way, because we didn't warn you that the thing that was inside the bag that kind of almost killed me comes from that place that you keep teleporting to. So just be a little careful in there.
Thanks for telling me that now.
I think only Carrier. Wait, did you actually say who went in for me inside the bag? I don't think you did, actually. But yeah, it's a big thing. It's huge, and if you see many teeth, run.
Well, the bonus is I just have to take my hood off and I come back here.
That's positive. What?
Good.
Oh.
But yes, I am not crazy. I am not on drugs. There is a massive unicorn in the astral sea that needs our help.
Oh.
I know that sounds crazy, but it's not.
So there's a unicorn in your hood.
Sort of.
I take a hood.
I mean, I'm just thinking before we go looking at this. You've got a book on the astral sea, right? Maybe you should see if there's anything else we should be worried about.
I mean, there's an entire constellation that's a unicorn, and you said there's like a giant unicorn in space. Therefore, there must be another constellation that's potentially a big guy with a sword.
Do I see
I
a
mean-
unicorn?
I
You don't-
mean,
By looking in the hood. No.
I mean, there's
Nasty.
the hunt. Carrius being a sailor, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I mean, there's the hunter, right? That's probably has a sword or a bow.
Orin, the hunter,
Mhm.
uses a bow. Yeah.
But does he also use a sword?
He did, but he gave it to.
But does the
Yeah.
constellation use the sword? Is the point.
No, it uses the bow
No, it's the bow.
because he gave
Okay.
the sword to Irina.
So it's, I mean, actually, again, because I know this out of character, there's a constellation just called the Night, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because that's one of the things that the astronomer's boon lets you see
Mm-hmm.
Could check my book on constellations.
in this is in D&D, but
There are actually a number of constellations that wield large sword weapons, not just the knight. You can probably count at least a dozen different ones.
do you know what kind of sword? That might help narrow it down.
It looked like it had runes on the blade. That was a distinguishing feature.
I don't know. It was kind of too big to tell if it was supposed to be a short sword or a
Right.
broadsword or whatever. Because it was just, humongous times 100 sword.
I mean, if it had
But
runes,
there was runes on it.
I mean, if it had runes on it, that might suggest a giant. because they're famous for their runes.
Do you remember any of them? Would you be able to draw them?
I could try.
Like, give a paper and a piece of charcoal?
Just scratching them out as best as she can.
Okay. Yeah. She'll roll me. It's going to be from intelligence. So yeah, just roll me an intelligence check. Hmm.
Damn.
Runes are a little bit
With
tricky to
her
remember.
headband of smartness as well.
Smart.
There being so many glittering stars, it was a bit mesmerizing to witness. Also,
It was shiny.
partially the sword was in something, either that or it was shattered. So there were only like a couple of runes anyway to really draw out. You draw out like a simple kind of shape of them. Nobody recognizes them.
Andy may be a musician, but she's no artist.
I mean, he's kind of an artist,
Yeah,
but
you
not
could-
that type of art.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
I mean, Karis then just goes, well, I know plenty about constellations, but because obviously navigation-wise, and if I don't have navigation
Okay.
tools on here, I'm going to be annoyed. I don't.
So
Karis doesn't
probably
have it.
the
I've
good-
discussed this before.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Probably the good thing to think of is what constellations are next to a giant unicorn.
Depends
that-
on the time
A
of
pretty
year.
one.
Very good, Kashan.
I mean,
Can we find like a star map somewhere in
Wait.
this library? There's got to be one somewhere.
Wait.
A star atlas.
I mean, there's a massive observatory upstairs.
yeah.
Is it?
Didn't you say that the observatory could see into the astral sea?
Mhm.
So,
But you'd have to check the time and.
I mean,
Actually,
well,
maybe
she's
not.
been there now, so if you set it to now, I guess.
What is now?
But I mean, this tower is like Terrig from the past. How do we know what now is?
Maybe there's a button on it, a reset.
There is a button on it, so we can always try that, I guess. I mean, if the unicorn had the anchor already, then maybe it's already set to the right time, so.
Yeah, we'll have a shot.
Then a catapult!
Karis will put the book back. He'll, just to be helpful, he'll put a bookmark in on the page where the riddle is.
Okay, cool.
He's got to write a note on the riddle and be like, ha ha ha, I found it.
Sure. Gotcha.
But at the moment, I'm thinking it's. But it kind of depends to some extent on the one before, because if it's leading him in a path, then. I mean, my initial thought is stone, which then makes me think the plane of Earth, which then relates to things we're trying to do. So.
Yeah, kind of. But corns. You take all the S and the C, and there's one.
So
Yeah.
scones and cones. You
Corn.
can't think of anything that leads on. So just in the same
Yeah.
way, Irina posed a potential answer. You need one
Yeah.
answer that has something that can relate to a library book, like something that has a.
Yeah. That's why I was thinking bones or stone.
Maybe
What would bones be?
necromancy.
Necromancy.
And you already said stone could be elemental plane of Earth.
Yeah.
So then
But-
you would then go on to sort of start to find one of those two books and then begin reading it.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
maybe
how it goes.
maybe there's only one of those books
Considering
here
it-
though.
Considering the first one led to the River Styx, I would go with Bones, Necromancy as the next line.
Yeah, but I'm wondering.
What if
I mean, it'd be useful to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask him which one it is before when I see him next, and then I can try to see
yeah?
if there's a pattern.
Because what if only
Well-
one of those two books?
There was no pattern, Irina, when you looked at those books. Do you remember? I said that there was no obvious pattern as to why he's picked out this selection of books.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, the riddle inside definitely has a sequence. So, all right, you come back to the observatory. There is a number of buttons and dials. One that seems to be the date. One that seems to show astral sea or material plane, and there is also a time as well, like a clock you can switch the hands to.
I'm not going to fiddle with anything because obviously I'd already set it and seen the unicorn, so I'm literally just going to press the button for the Astral Sea.
Okay, that's already still active,
Mm.
already set to the astral sea.
This is really pretty.
Ooh.
Do you mind if I have a go? I've not used it yet.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Carrot's already maybe a bit giddy about the catapult to get in here. Is just gonna go, yeah, another toy.
Okay, I've seen the real unicorn.
And also he has his weapons and stuff back because he left that thing. So yeah,
What?
right. Where we left the
At point you
pacifism
guys
room
see
to
all the
get.
weapons we've concealed.
Yeah.
Is that how it works? Do we get our stuff back as soon as we walk
Yeah,
up some
you
stairs?
get-
You can go up to the chest and retrieve your gear if you wish. Yes.
Mhm.
I feel like we're going to be going
Um,
back to the library a lot.
Yeah, if you're going back and forth, might be best.
Well, I will keep a hold of. No, actually, yeah, that makes a certain amount of sense. I can still fight with Alex. So. Right, let's see what we can see through here.
Okay, Carius. If you're looking as it is where Irina last left it, you do indeed see the astral sea as like a wavy mane of hair that's just swooshing around in this ocean of imagination. You can roll a perception check.
Hmm. Right, and you said giant sword and hand, right?
Fingers. Severed fingers.
Ah, I see nothing.
You are way too zoomed in. You must be like lost within their name.
Right, Irina, could you zoom it out a little? I don't know if there's a setting for that.
There is.
There is,
There's
because
zoom.
I obviously did that earlier. So
Yep.
out we zoom.
Okay, you zoom out. I'll begin to get a better picture of this. It is vast. You can continue zooming out. It doesn't seem to be a limit. Maybe there is, but it feels like there isn't. As you continue to zoom out, you can roll another perception check.
Almost reminds me of the Starbuck that I once heard of.
Hmm.
I zoomed out too far.
Harriet,
Zoom.
Harriet,
You cracked
why,
it.
why are you looking for it with your eye that you've got closed? You're supposed to use the other one.
Ah, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say this because you rolled a natural one. You do witness something within the astral sea.
Oh no.
Oh, indeed. We are going to have you witness something.
Oh.
Oh boy. Uh,
I see the weird chained up planet thing that Estelia once saw.
no, you don't
That'd
see
be
that.
cool.
No.
I still want to find out about that. That one still bugs me to this day. Every now and then it just pops into my head. I'm just like,
Okay. Fine. Astral. Astral plane. What is it? Nearly there. Okay. Okay, found it. Alright. So, Carius, as you begin trying to zoom out and out, you see the hair is gone. That's way gone in the distance. And instead, you start to see what perhaps is blowing the hair. This wind begins whipping around,
Oh
not
no.
swirling
again.
past. Yep. I would like you to roll a d20 for me, please.
Oh no.
And also make an intelligence saving throw.
Oh no.
Yeah. Intelligence save first.
He rolled the other one first.
That's fine. Go that way. Oh no, indeed.
Oh, is that a fail?
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
How's
Yeah,
that?
because I have a
Oh,
feeling the
no.
first one set the DC. Possibly.
No, the intelligence save. So this wind begins kind of swirling around the telescope, and it turns into that of like a spiral. It almost begins to like pull you back in as you're trying to zoom out. It pulls your vision out, and it creates this dolly zoom effect where what you're
Oh, yeah.
witnessing is being further away, but you're zooming in at the same time or zooming out at the same time.
Yeah,
So it's like
it's the one where you like move the camera
Yeah.
away but zoom in
Yep.
on the camera, isn't it?
It's called a dolly zoom. Yep.
Yeah, it's a good effect if
And
used properly.
as this mesmerizing effect happens, you're suddenly shot with a kaleidoscope of colors that flash before you. And now we go to the other table. Jeez, you're getting sent from table to table.
Wow.
I need you to roll, I believe. Is it D100? Yes, another D100, please.
Oh God, what next?
And then a
Yeah.
D1000, and then a D10,000.
D3, and then if you can solve this Sudoku puzzle for me.
Got a
Um,
93.
93.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if
Okay.
that's good or bad because this could.
Okay, roll me 1d10.
Oh.
I'm not kidding.
Rolls.
I'm not even kidding.
He's
Four.
playing
I'm
Death Roll with
in.
yourself.
Oh god. Okay. Flipping hell. So, Carius, as you witness this happening, you see in the spiral, you see words beginning to pull, and the words are getting further and further away from you, and it feels like your breath is being stolen away. You recognize every single one of these words. They are all the words you have ever spoken in your entire lifetime, going backwards, spiraling into nothingness, into the vanishing point.
I don't know what this means.
Could you
Which
sign this
comes-
contract?
Is Carius's behavior normal?
He's just wide-eyed looking at this, like, and his mouth is agape, and he seems to be mouthing something.
Can I just push him?
Okay,
push
I'm
him
gonna
off?
kick him off the chair.
Yeah,
I'm literally just gonna boot him.
yeah, we both have the same idea here.
The last word you see vanish is "means this what don't I?" and it pulls away and carries. You kind of pull away from here, and you're still okay. You're
Hey,
still conscious.
Carriers,
You alright?
did you get possessed? Because it looked like you got possessed.
I
think he went crazy.
As you go to say "I saw," you
Yeah.
cannot speak.
Have I been struck mute?
Yes, you
Carriers,
can see him mouthing something, but no words come out.
I don't know how to lip read. You're gonna have to be a bit clearer.
Carius is going to think for a moment, then turn to Kashan and try to make some vague hand gestures because he can understand all languages. So Carius can somehow describe what he's saying through hand gestures that Kashan can understand.
Yo, why are you throwing out gang signs, bro?
You can give me a performance.
That's doing the YMCA.
It's literally the only.
You can't make those rude gestures, Carrius.
Would you like me to insight it?
He's definitely communicating, but it's in a broken charades, or charades, whatever you want to pronounce it. He can't quite get what he's trying to say across, but he's trying to tell you something.
He was never good at charades.
And he's pointing at his mouth and what he saw. So it's something to do with what he saw relates to what his mouth is now.
It's a film.
And
what is a film? I don't understand what this concept of film is.
He just sort of shakes his head, then points at Irina and Llewellyn and just does scribbles.
I'm just gonna hand him a bit of paper and a pen.
Yeah, I'm gonna try writing this.
Okay,
Does
you
that
can
work?
write. It does work, yes. You can actually still communicate. Just you
Yeah.
have lost your ability to speak.
Okay.
Just one quick question, Chris, because I don't know if this effect is permanent or not. I'm going to just sort of step away from the party after handing that to Irina, and I'm going to try to cast a spell that requires a verbal component.
Oh no!
I'm going to try to make,
Does not work.
Okay. Well, then we need to go and find Orish, right? Because he has trouble with verbal components.
Is this a curse?
So, no, I think he's just gone a bit mad.
Karis is just whipping the air as he tries to use lightning lore because it's purely verbal and just...
Right. Let's maybe go and find Orish.
Oh, I got that one. It's a whip.
Yeah, he's like,
What about a whip? You
he's just looking very frustrated.
I'm going to shape water and just splash them in the face because that's purely semantic.
right? So whipping. So there's like a whipping of water. What does that mean, though?
You want to freeze it around his head?
I use Kratos to destroy water to destroy all the water within his body.
Oh, goodness.
No, I know that's not possible, but
Right?
Blood
Maybe.
bending right now. Blood bending.
oh god, all of my best spells.
So if
I'm
someone
just
goes,
looking what I can do. I can do counter spell, illusory script, absorb elements, shape water, thunderclap, and that's
Oh.
it.
right? Did this happen before, or is this just a Carius thing so far?
Harry.
Only, yeah.
Does someone want to help Carius with that, and other people try and work out whatever this thing was? Well, not specifically this thing. I don't want to look at whatever he looked at, but yeah.
Harris just nods as to Llewellyn as if saying, yes, you do.
No,
And I wouldn't mind if you stopped talking for a little while.
were you talking to? Because he did stop speaking for a while. He
I'm talking to you.
okay. I'm just sat in this chair right now, just like, are we? Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
I think that's 3 people you've insulted today.
What do you mean? I've not insulted anyone.
I think you've
Oh.
got a bit of a mean streak, you bully.
Who have I insulted?
The Goblin and now Carius, Kashan Daly. I mean,
Yeah, but Kashan's always hitting me over the head, so that's he deserves that.
I mean, to be fair, you Max as well, but he kind of deserved it.
Matt, yeah, Max, Matt. Oh, you got me saying it now. But
That's the idea.
he does deserve it. And I didn't mean to insult Carius. And
But you meant to insult me.
I will. Like I said, you keep hitting me over the head.
How
But-
dare you?
Damn it.
You picked this up from Laffy, seeing as she would knock people over the head when they said silly things.
But
Well, Llewellyn
To be-
doesn't have to say silly things. He just has to say.
Well, you have to remember, Laffy was plant mum, Kashan is now egg mum. So he's kind of, he thinks this is how you raise people, this is how you raise children.
to be fair, I did not insult the goblin. I swear that chair is magical.
And we have explained that it's not.
I will prove it to you next time. Anyway,
Alright, you do that.
right. Can we reset this and try and
so. When you say reset,
to where
what would you like to set it to?
Like, obviously, I zoomed it all the way out, so I'm going to sort of zoom it back in.
Okay, zoom back in.
Yeah,
Sure.
let's not zoom that far out this time, because that has really done a number on Carius. He's still trying to say stuff, but it's
You have a look through, Llewellyn?
yeah. I'm a little bit concerned here now, but I'm also intrigued.
Go ahead, roll a perception check.
Yeah.
That's better. Okay, you see a much clearer picture. You've zoomed out. Oh, sorry, zoomed back in. You can see the mane. You can see a unicorn is indeed anchored by some sort of tether attached to a gigantic sword. At the angle at which the sword is, you can see that as it kind of spins, it is actually indeed a shattered sword. The
So,
runes on it are kind of like on the other side, perhaps, though. You have no idea exactly what any of this means, but you are witnessing it.
so the horn is attached to the sword
Hmm.
for a tether, or is it the anchor is attached to the sword for the tether?
The anchor is wrapped around the horn, and the tether is then wrapped around the hilt of the sword. And you can see, just as you're looking around, you suddenly catch wind of one of these fingertips, and they begin beckoning you, pulling you.
Wow, that is a very big unicorn.
It's massive.
I told you.
I guess I'll just be guiding. Is Irina? I'm guessing Irina is in control of this. Guiding
Yeah.
Irina to follow where the fingers are trying to go, or beckoning wherever they're
Yeah.
beckoning.
Sure. You tell Irina to sort of zoom in a little bit,
Yeah.
and you're kind of like turning the telescope as you do so. Okay. You're being beckoned closer and closer. And you start to feel the space around you getting darker. There's less stars, they feel more sparse. You feel like gravity in your own vision kind of pulling you further and further towards something. And you swear you see pool, a silvery pool, sort of there hovering. Its color is hard to make out. Give me another perception check.
21.
21. You almost feel a cold sensation, and the pool is ebony in color.
I'll be describing this as it's happening, in case anyone has any input.
Do you get closer, or you
Yeah.
see one of the fingertips beckons and disappears through the pool?
Okay. It's telling me to go into the pool. Can we maybe get a little closer on it?
If you're sure, I mean,
Is it?
just be careful and remember what happened to Carius.
Yeah. Thinking about this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just remove my book and then use the eye from the book, because then the book can't go crazy, can it?
Books are
It
already
is
crazy.
your eye. You're seeing through it.
Would it
You
have
would be being
would it have the same effect? I'll just
it's
carry on then.
subject to your mind. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I was trying to be a bit smart there.
Okay. No, that's an idea, but yeah, you are intrinsically tied at this point. Okay. As you get closer, everything around you, those glittering, beautiful colors, the night purples and velvety blues seem to subside into a kind of a dusky gray, and you feel a spiral beginning to form at the periphery of your vision. But it's much slower than the one that Carius witnessed, where it's like pulling in like a tornado. This one just seems to be slow and sluggish, and your vision almost looks like you're seeing a whirlpool of tar slowly, sluggishly pulling. But as you get this close, you realize you can't get any further into it it just seems to surround your entire vision.
Okay, I think we have come to a bit of a stop here. I don't think this is something we can look through, but we have to physically go through if we want to investigate.
Well,
But that seems to be where it leads. Do I get an idea? Do I get an idea of the direction from like following the fingers?
Where it goes from, yeah, it's past the unicorn, past the sword, and just deeper into that space.
Yeah,
You
in
can't
case.
really keep the direction, but like up is the best you can tell.
Yeah, I guess
No,
in case we do end up going there, if you have any more paper, I'll just sort of like, I guess, do a rough map
yeah, sure,
so that Irina can keep to
sure thing.
so we have it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, pulling away and kind of like shaking off your vision. It does take a while for almost color to even come back into the room for you as well. Like it feels like just looking at that place almost felt like your mind was there as well, and color does begin to sort of twinkle back into the room in like spots, and then finally back into the room.
Uh, um, right. So that's that. We should probably go help Carius, but also while we're here, you wanted to look something up, Irina?
yes, but it is 10-2, so I'm not going to get into that now.
Okay.
So,
What was your idea though for next time, just so we know?
it was literally to set the telescope to go and see if I could spy on Malone meeting with the Sultan.
Okay, cool. I'll keep that in mind for next time then,
Yeah.
and we can try that next time. What I want to do. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, sorry, Carius. How are you? What are you up to? I know you're reeling from this strange
Karis,
tornado of words.
yeah, Karis is just like apparently making weird beeping sounds, but because my phone went off. But
That's all he can do now.
yeah, Karis is just like just sort of trying to think on things and just see if he can, at least in his head, try to remember all the words he's ever said recently and try to like say them in his head, if that makes sense, to try to undo it.
When you try that, you can picture letters, but when you try to put them together, they seem to ricochet off each other and just disperse. And you're unable to form a coherent word. It just has letters mumbled and jumbled everywhere. You
Yeah.
think that perhaps looking at a book or a page with words on it might begin to help your mind process it back.
Darius just sort of makes a gesture of book and then heads off to go to the library.
Okay, cool. Heading back into the library. What kind of book do you want to look for? I know you picked up Bones and Stone were the last.
I'm
idea.
trying to think. I'm gonna look for anything on the plane of Earth.
Easy enough.
Oh,
There is
actually,
plenty. Okay.
wait. It's Stone, Frozen River. Because Frozen River led to a thing about a literal frozen river, right?
The river Styx, yeah.
Yeah. So Stone could lead to one of two things. It could be a book on the plane of Earth, or it could be a book on stone giants.
True.
Depends
Could
how
be.
literal. I'll try the plane of Earth first.
All right. The plane of Earth. It's not hard to find. You even in this vast library, finally you come across planes. The plane of Earth is a infinite expanse of solid matter, pot-marked with bubbles of other elements and riddled with fissures and tunnels, created by burrowing creatures or the occasional mining operation. It is a dangerous plane to traverse for material denizens and races, purely because there is a complete lack of air. there are some places where there are pockets, and it seems to be in these that there are races that are actually enslaved by Dao overlords, which use them to mine precious minerals. There are also other pockets of magma, ooze, dust, and ash. It seems like this plane is the one that's perhaps most suffused with other bits of other planes.
Yeah.
But it's also very dark. You don't really find an opening. There's no open air. It's always underground. Everything is just completely submerged. You're not sure if there is an exterior to the plane of Earth or whether it is just a complete crust. There are notable locations in the plane of Earth. Several of them are listed here. The Great Dismal Delve, the Pale River, the Iron Crucible, the Sevenfold Mazework, and the Hidden Fulcrum. Which do you want to look up?
See, out of character, I know what I'd want to look up, but considering this is Caris in character, the river, I guess, because it's water-based, so...
Exactly that. They are the connecting vortex between the elemental plane of Earth and the elemental plane of water. That's exactly what it is. In the same way the Iron Crucible connects Earth and fire, the Pale River is the bridge between those two planes, water.
Okay, so if
and Earth.
that's... And based on Caris's knowledge of the planes and the four main planes, it only directly joins to, at least in the elemental planes, only directly joins to water and fire, right? There's not a direct join to air, for example.
No, correct. There is no like jump from that one to the
Yeah,
other.
but but then there would also be a link to the negative energy plane and the positive energy plane from it.
There is.
Which
You're having
would
a hard time locating that one.
But then that would go through the pseudo planes, wouldn't it? Which would be
Right.
mineral and I think
Mineral. Right. Speaking of mineral, if you look at the other three options which are presented, you're looking for mineral. The best you can find is within the sevenfold maze work. Here, it does overlap with the mineral, where you find there are 7 layers, regions in which get progressively perhaps closer to the mineral plane, and you skip ahead through some of the regions to find that the 7th region perhaps overlaps with minerals where people have found pockets of precious gems and jewels, glittering diamonds that many have tried to reach through, but the winding maze-like passageways are blocked off. Some of them you can't even traverse. Some you would need great magic or a great guide, perhaps. But regardless, it's starting to sound very familiar to something. And if only you guys had crisscrossed information. But I can't go anything more than that. It's I can go into much more detail about it.
Carius just sort of looks at that and thinks on, like, because whilst he can't speak, he can still remember conversations and their context, right?
Yeah, you haven't lost your memory.
So Carius looking at this sort of keeps up, just sort of looks for Mox, hoping that Mox is still here somewhere.
Mox isn't here at the moment, no.
Okay, time to see if this breaks a rule. I'm going to quickly... Actually, no, I'll put the book back. I'll put a bookmark on it. Then I'll run and find Kashan and tug Johnny's thing and be like...
Frantically, you're being gestured by Carius. He seems to have found something that is important to you.
Hello.
Yeah. Carius is like... just keeps gesturing for you to follow and then starts heading towards the exit again.
Kashan is confused.
Do you go along with them?
Sure.
Yeah.
Expecting a no.
So Karis is then gonna find the book and the page and point to it because it specifically mentions diamonds and like the plane of Earth stuff, which seems related to Kashan. Because whilst Karis doesn't know the full details of everything that Kashan is looking for, he at least knows about the Crystal Cave.
Indeed, there is a description of a crystal cave, glittering diamond. Sorry, was you going to say something there, Kirsty?
It is 10, so
Yeah.
I'm going to be going to bed now.
That's fine. We're
Alright.
going to end up.
Night, guys.
We're going to wrap it up here anyway. So, yeah, you find the crystal cave. It is there before your very eyes. And the sevenfold maze and the hidden fulcrum are words which are highlighted. And with that, we will end tonight's session. As you come to a realization that the crystal cave might not actually be in the material plane. And that this entrance to it, the shifting one, might be a portal. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks very much for watching. We'll catch you all next week and on Sunday for Baba Yaga's Dancing Hut, the Witch Hunters. So tune in then as well to see the climax of Dr. Geralf. And hopefully Grizz figures out how he was made. Who knows? But yeah, we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.